Hey there, welcome to SharkCast Pod, a podcast dedicated to the greatest sporting club in the history of the world, the mighty Cronulla Sharks. This very special Christmas episode is brought to you by Dyson Logistics, the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking, and Jason Hawes at Cripps & Cripps Real Estate. We have to say we are in the Royal Motor Yacht Club right now, and thanks to Liam for being so kind and gracious with your space, and hopefully the food that's going to arrive at some point, we'll see. While I'm focused, I want to say thanks to everyone for a great year, listening to the podcast, watching the YouTube, etc., etc. We'll get to more of that later. But right now, we have our annual Christmas show, and we're missing two people, but we're here with a whole bunch of others, so that's kind of okay. We are missing TK, Tristan K. Nell, which is a bummer. He sent in a few thoughts. We're missing Jardian Ormsby, who's come up with the idea for this Christmas show, which we've been doing now for quite a while now. However, the good news is I have, in no particular order, our very reliable, regular shark analyst, the youngest man in the squad, the baby, if you will. I would like to give a big SharkCast Christmas welcome to Mr. Joshua Bolling. How you going?
I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. Looking forward to the pre-season coming up and the holidays and speaking about the Sharks with all of us here today. Can't wait. All
right. Thanks, Joshy. Next up, we have a guy who always puts his job on the line when he comes on this show. And tonight's going to be no different. Please welcome our very good friend, Mr. Gary Dover.
Thank you for having me. My favourite episode of the year. I'm glad to be here with everyone. It's a shame the other boys can't be here, but looking forward to talking some Sharks and footy with the rest of you guys.
Next up, we have our good friend, our famous entomologist / musician, and the sweetest guy that ever lived, Mr. Cameron Webb.
Hey, Sam. Good to be with you and the boys tonight. We're looking forward to talking about the year that was and the year that's coming up and our Christmas wishes.
And last, but certainly not least, he is about to hit prime time, if he hasn't already, on Radio 2GB and associated programs. He is probably the biggest Sharks fan I know, and he stays up late and he worries about it, and he doesn't sleep much, and I respect that. He is heard at the moment on Drive Time 2GB, Mr. Clinton Maynard.
I've just spent the last 3 hours talking about heat waves, the future of electricity, the train drivers dispute and budgerigars, so I'm actually looking forward to talking about Sharks for a while.
All right, that sounds good. Now, the idea of this show is we have 12 wishes that we want to see come true for the 2025 season, and perhaps ongoing after that as well. We'll get into that in no particular order, although we'll leave some of the big ones till the end. All of the people involved and those not here have sent in 3 or 4 ideas. I've put them all together. We agree on some. Some are just wild ideas from Malone thoughts. But we'll start with something that Gary, myself, and Josh were very passionate about. And we want to see the return of one of our big boppers, Braden Hamlin-Uele. He's been injury prone, as we know, had trouble training, getting fit, played a lot of cup football the last 2 years. But Gary, why don't you start? Give us an update. How is he going?
He's going good. Pre-season's going well for him. He's obviously still coming out of a bit of a rehab phase, but he's getting into all the sort of contact and wrestling and everything like that. So he's kind of back to where he needs to be at this point in the season, and yeah, I think he's going to be, and I hope he's going to be a big part of what we've got going on in 2025.
Now, Josh, what was it that you missed about the big unit?
The whole reason I thought of this was because a couple of nights ago I actually had a nightmare that he got really injured again in pre-season, and it just made me think we can't have that again. We need him fully fit. He's such an enforcer, one of the most aggressive guys in our team. And I think we missed that in the back end of the year, and we saw how damaging it can be in some of the later games for Newtown. And I just think a combination with either him or AFB on the field at all times would just, like, the impact that they could make, either if they're together, if they're off, one or the other. I just think that's maybe a missing piece to take another step.
See, I reckon if he's completely fit, I think he and Adden are the starters. Like, on paper, given the past, what we've seen from him, that's my opinion. I reckon Kafusi's got a good argument based on the year he had. What are some of the other thoughts on?
I think we now need him in terms of we've lost Royce Hunt. Not that he played big minutes, but we're down a middle there. We've lost Jack Williams. lock, but essentially a middle. You've got Toby's out for the first 2 months with his big toe. Calhoun's coming back.
No, it's the shoulder.
Oh, it's the shoulder he hurt.
Is that right, Gary?
It was the surfing injury in Bali.
So he had the toe problems during the year, but then when he fell off the surfboard.
That's it.
And you've had, Calhoun, will he be fit opening round? Well,
no.
Yeah, exactly. So we actually need him as a middle, whether it's as the enforcer in the team. I would have thought numbers-wise we actually need him.
What do you think, Cam?
Yeah, it was perplexing that he didn't get a run towards the back end of last season. He looked great for the Jets, particularly in that sort of championship game, I guess on grand final day. He looked great. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited to see him back and fully fit. And I think he's going to be, take the opportunity that's been opened up for him both to play alongside AFB, but also in the other guys missing. So here's a chance for him to really put his hand up and say he's one of the sort of big dogs of the pack, which we all want him to be.
I really feel for him because, he was really trending to a really great point, playing some rep footy, other clubs looking at him. He's a great fella off the field, great ambassador.
But he took less, didn't he, to stay with us because he wanted to play? What didn't he?
Yeah, the
Wasn't there a deal to go to
Warriors.
the Warriors?
Yeah, the Warriors wanted
So
him.
he definitely wants to stick around, but it's just this weird year or two he's had. So hopefully this is the one. I mean, we were joking before we hit record about Blake Brayley finally coming good as a Christmas wish. So hopefully this one for Braden's just one off. So I think we need him too. You're right, Clinton. I think we really need him. Those guys, they don't come around every day, those sized athletes. So
yeah, that was where the whole thing for me stemmed from, was the two things like Clinton and Josh said, the aggression that he can bring when we've seen him at his best. That kind of replaces what we lose in a guy like Royce Hunt. And then just the need that we have with all those guys that have left or are injured and not playing, he's got to step up and he's got to be there.
Say if Kaufusi starts the season and Tom comes off the bench, I mean, who's the other middle on the bench at the moment if it's not BHE?
I don't know.
A youngster. Yeah, I know we haven't done the
Big
depth
Tooks.
chart yet, but...
Yeah, Big Took's probably, yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's not official, Gary, but he's sticking around. I know that.
Yes.
You're smiling.
No comment.
Yeah. We know that he's sticking around. So maybe
But it
it's,
shows to start the year anyway, until
there's a
Toby
need.
and Jesse are back to full fitness, there's a bit of a depth
I think the most exciting part of that is if he's fit round one and Adam Fonua-Blake pumps out 20, 25, 30 minutes and the opposition go, okay, thank God, he's off. And then he comes on and replaces him straight away. Kaufusi can play an extra 5-10 and then cover that for Tooks to come and have a 10 minutes to rip in as well. That's a real... And then you bring them back on. That's a really damaging front row if all fit.
Is that your preference?
Yes, at the moment.
I'd rather have Oggy start for sure.
He had a good year, hey?
He did. He had a really good year, and that was something that I'd hoped for at the start of last year, was for him to step up. I thought he did. I thought he did really well. There were some games there. I think in Canberra he played the whole first half.
Yeah.
And we can see he can play big minutes. He doesn't fall off too much.
Yeah.
But then there's other guys like Tooks doesn't play that big of minutes.
He doesn't need to.
But he doesn't need to when
Well,
we've got guys like that.
Adam's going to play big minutes.
Adam's going to play big minutes. We know Oregon can play big minutes. So if guys like Braden and Tooks are coming off the bench, Tommy Hazer, I think we'll be in a good spot. But yeah, we need all those guys firing to start the year.
Once they're all fit, it's a pretty good pack. I tend to say this every year. We've got a great pack.
But they won't all be fit at once. That's reality.
No, that's
There'll always
true.
someone with injured.
That's true. That's true. But I guess my point is the pack, when you look at the depth chart, it's pretty good.
Yep.
Got Nephi's brother, who's come from the Raiders as
Yeah,
well. Who's
and,
playing lock a bit.
have you
He's
seen
sort of
him
that
train?
Jack Williams mould.
Is he training well?
fits that. Yeah, he's training really well. Really nice guy, just like Nephi. You've met him before, so
Yeah.
yeah, they're pretty similar. They're hard to tell the difference in photos when
Are they
they
twins?
ask you to send them photos. I'm not sure which one you are, but I'll send you them all.
Are they twins?
Yeah, they're twins.
Yeah, right.
Twin brothers.
He comes with a pretty good rep.
So they're twin brothers. One plays in the front row and one's a halfback?
Yep.
How does that work?
Yeah, they're both solid though. Nephi's not a
Yeah,
small
yeah.
half,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've heard a lot of Raider fans were pretty upset that they let him go. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Debuted against the
Interesting to
Sharks.
see. That's exactly right.
Yeah, he's only played a couple of games, but a couple of people I really respect are really happy with the idea of him coming, and he might fall into the Billy Burns, chuck him in when you need him, he won't let you down category, which is, you can't have enough of those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So we hope that BHU has a great season. He just became a dad, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Him and his missus had a
That'll
little
toughen
boy,
up.
so he's there's a lot going on off the field for him, which I think's put him in a really nice headspace, and seems like he's come back fresh, I guess is the word.
All right, that's our first wish. We're off in the SharkCast annual Christmas episode. the next one we are going to choose is this one, and it's from TK. And he would like Will Kennedy to prove the doubters wrong with a Dally M positional season. In other words, standout year for Will Kennedy, winning fullback of the year. That's his wish. We all support that, but what do we all think about it?
I'm all in on this. I'm a big Will fan, and I think he's at the wrong end of a bit of fan speculation.
It snowballs.
But look, I reckon I think he's really great, and I think he's safe. And I don't know whether he's going to be, there's some other good fullbacks that he's fighting for to get the Dally M. So I'm not sort of betting on him, but I'd like to see him really cement his place in the Sharks for 2025 and just snuff out some of this discussion about moving him on, even though I know it's not going to go away.
Well, I reckon Fitz has made the choice here now. Because maybe not the long-term choice, but certainly in the next 12, 24 months. And maybe that gives Will confidence because Ison, and he did well in that game that he played, but he's not ready. Dykes has not played for 2 years, let's be honest, and he's let Atkinson go. Now, I know Atkinson's going to be there this year, but he's not going to suddenly put Atkinson at fullback to start the season, given he's going to a different club.
Well, keep in mind, Ison's signed for a few years now.
But Ison's played one game.
I know.
Ison's played one game. So I think that's Kennedy being told, okay, it's your spot to start the year with. To give you that confidence.
Yeah, but I wonder when the contract...
Plenty of plans don't want him to start the year.
Yeah. I wonder when the contract talk will heat up, though, for him and the coach and the club.
The contract talk doesn't need to start yet. There's only one club that's going to be interested in Will Kennedy. Sorry. And I love Will.
I don't know about that.
PNG, because or Perth, the new club. You run through the 17 clubs.
Yeah.
Who does Will Kennedy knock over? Which club actually? And I love Will. I really do love Will, and I think he's our fullback now. But who's going to bid for Will Kennedy?
But does that mean he's the 17th worst fullback?
No, of course not. No. Of course not. But if you look at the Raiders got someone like Chevy Stewart playing reserve grade, and he's meant to be the next big thing. Yeah. Some of those West Tigers at the bottom of the ladder, they've got Buller.
Well, yeah, he's very special.
Parramatta have let Gutho go because he's on his last legs, but they've gone and bought who they think is going to be the next gun. So, things can change in the course of 6 months, and I just don't think there is pressure on the Sharks to go and sign Will right now, even though you can.
Oh, sure.
I don't think they need to yet.
Sure.
When those other clubs, now Perth will be announced apparently, I'm hearing, in the next week.
Really?
Yeah, apparently. They're just trying to...
For the same time as PNG?
No, they'll come in the year before PNG.
Oh.
That's the difference.
Okay.
Now, once those two clubs are formally in and they come up with the guidelines of when players can sign and so forth, that's when a Will Kennedy, absolutely, his value jumps because he'll be a big option for those clubs, I would think.
Josh, do you have Will Kennedy starting in round one?
Oh, he's definitely going to start.
Okay.
But look, to Clinton's point, I think that Fitz has made the decision that Ison is the next guy, or is the guy going forward. With that contract signing, the fact he got a game when he probably realistically shouldn't have showed a big sign of faith in him. Everything that I've seen from him indicates that he is a first grader at minimum, and I think the potential of him is huge. So I think that re-signing, probably on a cheaper deal than what he will be in 2 years, is really astute. And I think that if Will goes down, he's first in, obviously. I think 2026, I think he probably takes a spot regardless.
So I reckon if Will goes down in certainly the first half of the season, Atkinson plays fullback.
You reckon?
Well, he's got the experience at the moment. Okay, not the experience playing fullback for us, but he came through as a fullback, didn't he?
But would you waste getting games into Ison
we've got
for another season of...
Yeah, we've got a premiership window. Okay. I reckon, honestly, I'm pessimistic about the Sharks. I actually think we're a hope in 25 to win the comp.
I think we'll get to that later. Absolutely,
but I think that's why you don't release an Atkinson. I think we've.
Oh no, you don't release him. No way.
Yeah, but if you don't release him, Ison is a longer term project, and I reckon you're probably right. I think he's Kennedy's replacement, but I think he's Kennedy's full time replacement, not Kennedy's down for a month. Who do we put in the number one?
Do you think they would have done that though during this season when they did play Ison?
I don't think there was a choice from memory. I think I was overseas or something, but I think Harodi was injured. I don't think there was a lot of choice for fullback.
But Atkinson was available to play him there.
I think he might have been playing in the halves.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'd play him and get as many minutes and as many games in him if you can. If the injury presents itself, I think you get him in there and get 5 games in him if that's the case. Get him prepped, and then he's got half a dozen games going into the full-time season instead of going bang round 1. You play 1 game.
I reckon we have the attitude this year we're here to win a comp. Let's start the season with that attitude.
This will not disappoint the forum listeners who listen to our show. I'm on the fence about this subject, whether to go Ison or Atkinson if there's an injury to Will. Like, I think it's pretty even. There's pros and cons of both. Because if he's going to be our long-term fullback, he's already played 1 game. He's probably a better fullback, in inverted commas, than Atkinson. But then obviously Atkinson's
I think
pretty
I'd
good
need
at
to
what he
see
does.
more of his defence before I'd commit to that.
Yeah, I'm all in on that. Yeah, I think that's the problem is you think, so what's Will doing, apart from getting injured, what is he going to do wrong that means he gets replaced? And if his defence and security stays what it has been in last season, I think it's hard to move him on, even if he's not glittering in attack. Because as Sam, you and I talked about with Ison, sure, he's going to be in that highlight reel last year, but he made some mistakes, and he's not a secure at the back, and so
he's also 12 years old. So.
100%.
Yeah, and I think, but it also depends on where Atco ends up, what role he has in the team when we're at full strength, and how you might want to disrupt his role to start the season to move him to fullback.
And I think you probably take it a game by game basis, but I think he's now a number 14, depending on if we go with a full forward pack on a full 4 on the forward, on the bench of forwards.
Sure.
We don't now have a long-term commitment for him, so it's not like this whole idea, you've been guaranteed a spot in the 17. I don't think that applies anymore.
I just think I don't know, this isn't an Ison debate topic, but I just want to go back. If he is young and he's going to make mistakes, I think we need to allow him to make mistakes and learn from them and grow, because if you remember back, Dylan Edwards was shocking when he debuted, and now he's one of the greatest fullbacks we've ever
Penrith
seen.
Weren't in a premiership window when Dylan Edwards debuted.
No, but
I reckon we are now.
I know, but if you get games into him now and you want to make that window longer and more open, or even change the way we play and the superstar potential that he has, I think you get him in as early as you can if he's good enough.
On the Will Kennedy thing, I've said it before, I'm sure. I find it laughable that people pile onto him and his performance, say, the year just gone, when we were a heartbeat away from a grand final. And, okay, you look at his stats, maybe they're not where they need to be or whatever. I don't really think he was the reason we didn't get to a grand final. No. That's what I don't understand all this, you've got to get rid of him. What are you talking about? If you get rid of him, it's a bigger risk of rocking the boat in the premiership window.
We also played Penrith, who'd won 4 straight comps and the best team of the NRL in that era.
And we played like we didn't want to hold the ball or win the game. It wasn't Will Kennedy thing. So that part of the argument and the flip side of what TK wants him to have a great year, we all do. That's the thing I do not understand. It's like, okay, you might have a better fullback down the road for me. Sure, absolutely. This is the guy we've got. We're having these great seasons. We kind of know why we didn't go all the way last year. We had a whole bunch of reasons why. It had nothing to do with Will Kennedy.
I think if you look back to some of our best attacking shapes on both sides of the field, Will is always in and around linking it somehow. And I feel like, yes, his defence gets questioned a little bit and he can probably improve in a few areas in both attack and defence. But when we're playing our best football, he's always in and around doing something and putting someone in space that helps our team drastically.
I reckon his best football came the previous year when Moylan was 5'8".
Yeah.
And so he's just then come into he's been the fullback this year when there's been inconsistency in the halves pretty much the whole season. Mm-hmm. So hopefully in the off-season, as a quartet, they're working together. Okay, Brayley's obviously hooker, but it's Trindle and Nico now full-time halves going forward.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't really see that for any length of time.
100%. I agree, totally. And he's come back in really good nick. He's actually bulked up something fierce. He's looking solid to start the year. So I'm interested to see if he's lost any speed or anything like that. But in terms of size, Will's looking really good.
All right. Our next wish is going to be one that Gary, Cam, and TK have requested, but only one of the three have named it this. This is how it came to me. No more Mr. Nico Guy, but it's spelt nice guy. No more Mr. Nice Guy for Nico.
That's it.
And that means a whole bunch of things. I think we all know kind of what that means. Let's talk about Nico, the king of Caringbah. Gary, he's back at training. He's in full training.
Yep, back doing everything. So he's fully around it, getting into it and getting stuck in. But yeah, it's time for him to almost drop the nice guy thing for me. I think where this stemmed from was the thought that we know he's a nice guy. We know everything that he's done on and off the field. We saw him when he spoke about Atkinson. He said he's a better guy than he is a football player. Like, we get it. He's a nice guy. I love Nico. He's a beautiful human. But I want to see him flip the switch and become an absolute savage and go out on the field and perform like the top halves perform.
Now, the only problem I have with that is we've seen him do that from time to time, and he's absolutely lost the plot. Now, there's different definitions on flicking a switch and becoming aggressive and that kind of thing. So I'm talking about when he gets frustrated. We've seen him just, kick out in the full and do all these silly things.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Ronaldo Mulatalo, right? That's my classic example. Like, he went through a phase where he was too aggressive. He was too in people's face. Things fell apart for him. That's probably where Nico's at now. Now Ronnie holds his nerve, knows when to insert himself in those moments with aggression or with a comment or with a push or a shove. I just want Nico to get to that level.
Yeah, and we want him just to have a breakout year again. The first half of his year last year was great.
Yeah.
Shades of that when he came back from injury.
That's the thing. He's coming back from a pretty nasty injury. Like, people just expect him to be on straight away.
He copped it left, right, and centre on the media for the way he came back, but the media didn't. And look, I'm part of it. We all are in a different way. Didn't accept that he was coming back from an injury that probably was season-ending.
Yeah,
like seriously,
big injury.
100%.
I just think the pylon last year was just utterly ridiculous.
He wasn't at 100%, and he went out there and tried to do his best for the team. And maybe in hindsight, he shouldn't have. But
it's that tough balance where he is the highest-paid player. He's probably one of the most high-profile guys in the comp.
Absolutely.
And I remember sitting with a very inebriated TK at the Penrith prelim. He was gone. And all around me, cries of do something, Nico, now's your time. And to be fair, he wasn't lights out. He didn't have an 8 out of 10 game. That's all the people around me wanted was him out of the 13 guys to do something. So I understand that. But they need to share it around. Like, it came good with Trindle sharing it around, him taking the reins a little bit. Yeah. There's a nice balance there. I want to see him just get rid of all the outside noise. We know he's really leaps and bounds ahead of most of the guys as far as mental health awareness and the healing powers and all that stuff he's into, which I fully respect. I want to see him shut out all the noise. The rep stuff, I think he kind of does, but the performances sometimes don't display that.
I think that's the thing, is that great performances by Nico is really the only way to silence some of the noise that's kind of around the Nico story. And I think that I kind of feel like I know we're paying him a lot of money, and the circumstances that led to that are a few years ago now. And I sort of feel like I want to just drop that sort of describer about him all the time. Like, I know we're paying him a lot, but he needs to find a place in the team has the best outcome for the team. Yeah. And the rise of Trindle kind of has changed that a little bit, I reckon. Yeah. And so I kind of don't want him to kind of feel like he has to do everything too much. I want him to have a great season. Yes. But he doesn't have to be the miracle worker that sometimes people want him to be. And so whatever that role in the team is, play that solidly, play it well. Yeah. Yeah, and then hopefully that'll shut out some of that noise that surrounded him in the last couple of seasons.
The problem, though, is he needs to flick the switch if no one else is going to do it. So in the Penrith game, the prelim, the game was there to be taken. The whole team didn't play to the standards we know they can. But like all the crowd around me, you're looking for someone to do something. I personally wasn't looking just at the number 7, but if no one else is going to do it, he kind of has to do it, which is a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure, but also in games like that, like again, like we just said about Will, it's not Nico's fault.
No way, no. No.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. I mean, I guess that our
just
players
that fine
that
line of him, like he's the poster boy, and that's why he gets the extra money, and like we love him. Like he's one of the greatest signings in our club's history. But with that comes this kind of go out and be awesome.
I reckon we can treat 2025, and I hope this is the way he's treating it, that it's a fresh slate.
It is.
Now, he started last year playing outstanding.
Yep.
to the point, I think he was leading the Dally M or second, and most fans thought, oh, that's a bit much. Like, it was a bit like he was attracting points because he was Nicho Hynes, but he was playing very well, to the point, and yes, there was injuries, he was named in Origin. I think the beauty we're going to have in 25, hate to break it to Nicho if this is his dream, I don't think he's even going to come into calculations for Origin, but I actually think that's a good thing.
Of course,
So I think it attracts so much attention. Whether it piles pressure on him or not, who knows? But I think the fact that he won't even really be talked about as an Origin prospect this year, I think that's good. Just focus on the team, build that combination and whatever the new role is between him and Trindle in the off-season, and then put that into practice week after week after week.
What happens if he has the same start to the year and then Cleary or Luai has the injury?
Honestly, I reckon they'll go elsewhere.
They will?
I think he's, for the moment, almost had papers stamped as a rep footballer, unfortunately for him. But I think that doesn't mean he's not going to play rep football in a couple of years' time, but I reckon there's going to be a bit of a break from the Nicho train.
I'm with you. I couldn't care less, but I'm just wondering if that really is not going to be a thing. Like, you'd think...
Mate, I think Flano Jr. will get a run before Nicho will.
Sure. Oh, Jesus.
That's one words.
But then, like,
And
we've got a
that's
guy
good.
out there called Adam Fonua-Blake, and we spoke about it in our first wish as well. If Braden Hamlin-Welly steps up, those two guys playing the way that they play when we know they can play that way, frees up Blake Brayley, so Nicho doesn't have to do as much. And then Tricky and Nicho off the back of that,
Creates the space
they're going to
for
have
Tricky Nicho.
much more space. Yeah. And then off the back of that, we've got a guy called Will Kennedy that we've just spoken about, who's going to have even more space off the back of that. So it's not going to be up to just Nicho doing it, but if he picks his moments, it's going to be great.
I'm personally not worried. I think that he's a great player, and if you don't look at his year with circumstance, then you're kind of not doing it justice. Like, it was a weird year for him. So, what do you reckon, Joshy?
I think, well, we want him to be talked about in the Origin space, because if he is, that means
Sorry,
he's
let me
playing
introduce
outstanding.
Josh as the number one ticket holder of the King and Carrying Bar fan club.
I think that if he's being spoken about in that Origin space again, that means that we're probably going pretty well. Yeah. So I think it's a bit of catch-22. We don't probably want him to play, and we don't want him to be in the discussions, because we've seen how it's kind of affected him, whether he would admit that or not. It has. But if he's playing lights out, he's going to be in the discussion. Whether obviously, like, Cleary's going to get picked if he's fit, Luai's probably going to get picked if he's fit, but that discussion will still be there, and that's a good thing. I think you want that. You want your best players being talked about in Origin, because that means they're playing well. But
not being part of the camp, not being part of the pressure that comes
of course,
with it. There'll be the talk, but not being part of those 6
but
weeks.
if it's on 360 on it, a couple of weeks out, and they're going, what about Nicho Hynes? How well is he playing?
Of course that's going to happen, because it's going to be an issue anyway.
Yes.
And I don't want Nicho not to play Origin again. Just have a year away from it.
I agree.
The basics back.
And I think to Gaz's point as well about that front row laying that platform, is that I think this is in the Fitz era, this is the most balanced the side looks across the park. So I think if you have all those pieces moving, like I said, that 10 to 20% taken off. Oh, look at this.
Oh, guys, thanks so much.
Forget Nicho.
Shout out to the Royal Motor Yacht Club, our friend Liam, and these lovely people delivering some lovely food. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah,
This is awesome. Thanks so much. Yeah,
I don't know what I was saying.
Can I ask, is this the garlic bread?
Free garlic bread, baby?
The famed garlic bread?
It looks pretty fancy.
It looks fancy.
Is it garlic bread?
Does
This
look
is the
fancy.
famed garlic bread.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, well, shout out to the Royal Motor Yacht Club. Let's finish on Nicho and we'll have a break. The whole Origin thing, you guys know I'm not an Origin guy, but if he was to play there and succeed, can you imagine the confidence that would give him? I don't want to risk it. I'd rather him not.
It would, and I think it would, but we've also saw after last season, players came back from Origin and a winning side. Lomax was not quite the same player, even though he had a great season.
Oh, yeah.
He was down on form. There were other from the winning Blues side.
That
It
high.
mentally takes so much out of them. I just think it's going to be good, hopefully, to have a concentrating on the Sharks for 12 months.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. How's he looking down there, Gaz? Looking all right?
Good. Looking good.
He posted a thing saying, I love my job.
It's a good job.
Was it your photo?
Don't know. I don't
He
know
was
if I
like
saw
in
it.
an action shot.
He
I
looks
doubt
really
it.
fit,
It would've been
actually.
Chich or
Looks
Mitch.
really good.
Yeah, he is. He's come back in good nick, but yeah, I think, as we've all spoken about, he just needs to shut out that outside noise and get back to what we know he can do, and he'll be fine.
He did the presser at the Children's Hospital the other day, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. It was good getting the whole squad out there, a few different places, and yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break, and we might even play an ad from the Royal Motor Yacht Club. They're looking after us so nice. And after the break, we'll be back. The listeners, it's just going to be a short break. For us, we're going to have a little bit of a food break. But we'll be back real soon. Don't go anywhere. This is SharkCast Pod Christmas edition 2024. The Royal Motor Yacht Club Port Hacking is a hidden gem of the Shire, situated on the banks of the beautiful Port Hacking. It's a great place to catch up with friends, celebrate your birthday or any special occasion, and they always show the NRL live on the big screens. The RMYC Port Hacking, proud sponsors of this podcast and big supporters of the Cronulla Sharks. Check out their website, rmycph.com.au. They've got a Facebook page, or you could go old school and call them on 02 9523 9300. Welcome back to SharkCast Pod. The lads have been chowing down on food from the Galley, the Royal Motor Yacht Club Port Hacking restaurant, eating establishment, which is where we are. We're actually in the Mariner Bar, which is an awesome little place that you can come and hang out when that's open to the public. Currently, it is just for SharkCast, our Christmas party, if you will. And thanks to Liam for the hospitality and all of his staff. Please come down and support them. Boys, what was your favourite thing here?
Everything.
Garlic bread, baby.
What do you guys say? I hid the headline. What's the word? I
Buried the lead.
buried the lead. We got the free garlic bread, baby. So I got to say, it was some of the best garlic bread I've ever had, legitimately. So
It is the best.
yeah, so we thank those responsible. Back to the Christmas wish, and aside from free garlic bread and pizza, Cam Webb put forward this one. He wants the NRLW team to keep the momentum of this season's grand final comeback and bring it into next season and dominate. So Cam, I'll let you lead on this. It was a great year.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Fantastic year. And despite a bit of a blip towards the end of the regular season, I guess, which might have, could have easily derailed the rest of the season, they kind of finished with a bang. And look, they were a few minutes away from one of the greatest ever, footy comeback grand final wins. And so I suppose it can play out two ways, and you can be a bit deflated by that, or come back and really want to prove that, you've got what it takes to win it. And I think, notwithstanding the performance on the field, I guess the NRLW team just have been great ambassadors for the sport, and we've been to a number of events, kind of meet and greet type events with them, and they've always been fantastic, very generous with their time, friendly, just genuinely interested in the fans, and I think that goes right through the squad. And so I think I kind of really wish them best for next year, and I reckon kind of we should try. It'd be great to see more people turning up to the games as well. And I know that we try. I know it's sometimes weird hours, but I reckon Sharks fans should get around them and do what they can, particularly for those home games, to get along. It'd be nice to see a bit healthier crowd there at some of those games.
The quality's really good. Now, I can't profess to have seen every game all season, but when you watch it, compared to, say, what Women's State of Origin was like, say, about 7 years ago, when it was first starting to get a lot of attention, I think the quality is, the defence has improved remarkably.
Fantastic,
Kicking games are a lot better than they were back then. But I think we probably all agree, we're biased. They should have been in from the start. Let the Sharks, given they were a pioneer in the game, it was ridiculous we were let out. But given it's only their second season, and they made the grand final, and sure, the first half wasn't great, but the fact that they got that far, after that undefeated run as well, take great heart out of the fact it's only the second season.
I think to Cam's point about, could go one of two ways. The reflection on that game, it should be that they came back and they almost won it. You had a bad first half. That's okay. That happens. Move on. If they'd gotten absolutely smashed and it was 40-0 or something, what's a different story? But they showed enough that they deserve to be there. And we were talking about their roster, Gary, and we've lost some players. We've kind of got a player, but she might have most of the year off, which has been announced, of course.
Yep.
But how's the NRLW team looking?
Yeah, obviously we lost probably 3 or 4 middle forwards there. Holly Wheeler, Tegan Dimmick. We've lost Taylor Preston, gone to the Bulldogs. So there's a few key pieces that have sort of moved on to different clubs. But yeah, the majority of the squad's still there, and they're obviously ready and raring to go off the back of that comeback sort of in the second half there. But, that's as a staff, couldn't ask for a better group of girls to work with. They're so appreciative of everything that we do for them, and, we probably don't do as much as we should. When it comes to coverage of NRL versus NRLW, but next year I think is a big point for us to really focus in on what they actually bring to the club. And as Cam said, it's, you know, for him and his daughter, for me and my daughter, they're such ambassadors for the game. And, like, I love watching my little girl go out there and run out on the field with the girls, and just she's in awe of these people. Like, it's such a platform that they have, and
it's
I think
it's good for young boys
everyone,
as well.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
My kid, he certainly won't be discriminating against a gender, that's for sure. And this is an easy lesson for him to learn. Oh, they're Sharks. Yeah, they're Sharks.
Just the fact that they have now those idols that they can look up to that are out there on the footy field that aren't males, it's great.
And we'll see the benefit of that in 20 years when the women's games had that time to develop the skill, because they haven't been professional realistically for that.
Well, look at
long.
The I don't know what the correct term is, but the female EPL comp.
Yeah,
huge.
And the women's cricket is probably the best women's sport in the world, I think, because of the standard. Because they've been playing now for 20, 30 years, and the last 10 years, like the women's game has skyrocketed. They're playing all the time. And I think when we see that with the NRL, when we have a full comp and they're playing full seasons, in 20, 30 years, when they've had that ingrained in them and the professionalism and the specialists that they have, we'll see that the quality go even higher. A point I did want to just quickly ask you guys and what you think your thoughts are with the NRLWs, and I guess maybe we'd also have to ask the girls what they think, but do you think that for now there'd be strength in playing them before or after NRL games? I know that there's a discussion around wanting it to stand on its own 2 feet and get games with no distractions around them, I guess, of NRL games. But the grounds, like when they're playing there before or after that, like they're going to have a better experience, better atmosphere that will also improve, I think, the product. Do you guys think that that's something that the game should look at, or do you think that they should still probably stand alone?
The girls love it. They absolutely love when they get to play in front of a decent crowd. Like, 11 a.m. on a Saturday is really hard for families to get to. Like, my kids are playing sport, and I've got to go to work. I can't watch them. Half the families can't come and watch the game. But then you go to an NRL game, and they're playing before that. They've got a decent crowd there. Everyone gets there early and watches them. Like, they absolutely love it. So I don't think it's a question of do the girls want to do that versus a standalone match. Like, yes, they want to have that standalone value, but I think where they're at now and what they get the most out of is having people there supporting them, and whether that's in front of an NRL game or not, I don't think it bothers them.
There's a few issues there. Obviously, there's broadcast rights, and when they want to show it, because they prefer to show stuff live, obviously, than on delay. And there's also the fact that the women are not full-time, so they have their jobs, and they can't just hit North Queensland on a Friday or a Sunday or whatever.
Yeah, it's super hard for them throughout the season working full-time and having to take that time off.
How does it work? Like, okay,
all their training's late at night.
A 3-month season, basically. Yeah. Do they take those 3 months off work, or they're juggling?
No, they're juggling. Yeah, and all, like, they have a set schedule, training, like, for the guys. We're playing on a Thursday, whatever it is. Training will shift each day, and they have their, whatever, D1, D2, D3, whatever it is. The girls are set all week, every week, so they can go to their jobs and say, this is when I'll be training. I'll work around all that. And it's like the hard work and dedication that they have to hold down that job and then come and put in that late at night, field and gym. Like, sometimes they're not finishing till all hours.
I think we've got an opportunity to be able to play, depending on the broadcast schedule and availabilities and so forth, but because we don't have our own New South Wales Cup team, I think there's an opportunity to have the women's game straight before the men's game. Now, often we've got like a Jersey Flegg level game or something like that. I think it'd probably be better to showcase the NRLW in that spot. Personally, I'd actually like to see some Newtown games occasionally played at Shark Park as well. But given we're not at that point, that should be a slot we can try to have the women's game on.
I think the only difficulty with that would be what Sam was saying, is also if the women's game's at 3 o'clock and we've played 5:30, there's obviously an NRL game at 3 o'clock, and I think the worry about is the crossover there of eyeballs.
It's complicated.
But I mean, the people there, that's where the experiences are, obviously, but I know they're paying money to showcase these games.
It's a real problem. Like, it's a real divide on the broadcasters wanting to save their money and also show it live, and then the women being available, and not to mention, I guess, ground staff and coaching staff and all that kind of thing as well. So they need to get it right, though.
Yeah, and the other thing too, Sam, is that I wonder whether there'll be a time when they do have their own standalone grand final, because that was great on grand final day. We were sitting amongst all the Sharks fans way, way up in the cheap seats. Like, I'm sure the girls loved playing on that day. But geez, if they could have had a standalone grand final at Parramatta or Allianz or something like that, the atmosphere would be
and the
really
perfect
fantastic.
example is the State of Origin.
Well, they get a decent crowd for Origin now.
Amazing crowds,
The numbers
So-
are through the roof.
And the
as well on
ratings
TV.
are unbelievable.
ratings are good.
Yeah. I see no reason why they'll go backwards. I mean, Jada Taylor, played a few games this year and then did the knee.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So she'll be back. We are missing Johnson, the prop, who she won't be playing, we don't think. I mean, some of those girls coming through were pretty good at the back end of the year, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Biddle, absolute gun.
Biddle's. Biddle
My
is...
favourite player.
Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. Really good team, great coaching staff, and let's hope they can go one step further. Let's talk about something that myself, Gary, and Cam have raised, and that is Las Vegas. Now, on a recent episode, was it with you? I didn't know where Las Vegas was.
Yeah, it was me, yeah.
I kept calling it California.
That's right. That was very funny.
I was like, I need
And
to say
I was
something.
mowing the lawn because I often listen to the podcast on headphones. I'm yelling out. I'm yelling out.
Straight away I was like, is he joking?
Yeah, so not in California, but in Nevada. Anyway, the point is, we want to win on and off the field in America. Now, I'll say that there is some business to be done. Like, if the club does it correctly and, maybe has a bit of luck and worlds meet together, they could do some business over there. I mean, we've already got some high-profile bankrollers to an extent who are based in New York but have a lot of business in Vegas. Now, there's no reason why they can't hit up some other contacts and meet and greets and get the ball rolling. It could be a very fruitful trip for the Sharks off the field. Even if just one of the contacts comes through in some way, they could be looking at new sponsorship or someone to pay for a gym or whatever. Whatever. Stadium, we'll get to that. And of course, we want to win on the field as well. I think that's just as important in the sense of there's one person at this table who is staying up late at night worrying about the effect that it's going to have on the team, and he'll have his say in a minute. But he's got a good point because it could derail your season. Like, if who's the nicest guy in our top 17, Gary? Just pick someone, the nicest guy who's not going to get into trouble. Would it be?
There's lots of nice
Of
guys.
course, they're all nice, but just pick one. Is it Will Kennedy?
Yeah, Will's up there.
Say Will just goes nuts in Vegas. It's not going to be good, right?
It's
it could
not.
derail the season.
Exactly.
Anyway, you know what I'm saying. Like, anything can happen over there on the plane trip. There's stress on the body. We want it to be smooth on and off the field. I love this one. This is one of my Christmas wishes. But Gary, talk to us about Vegas.
Yeah, so obviously from a football perspective, Fitzy and the coaching staff and everyone there, they're so focused on it's a shorter preseason. There's so much work that needs to be done to hit X, Y, and Z points before we get there. So yeah, they're totally focused on the football, and I think they're going to be in a great spot when we get there. But for me and I guess the admin staff in the office, it's an opportunity to take our brand global, and I think you get one shot at that Las Vegas market, that American market as a brand and as a club. And I think if we can do it properly, there's, a number of opportunities that could become fruitful for us in the long run.
Cam, this is one of your ones. Have you got any, have I caught you at the wrong time? Clinton, tell us why going to Vegas is wrong.
Well, I can't actually say that because today on 2GB, I was reading commercials for the NRL promoting the trip to Vegas. So I'm very
coming
supportive.
as well, are you?
I'm very supportive now. I've been reading commercials all week for them.
Let's go.
Look, I'm not anti the NRL taking games to Vegas. I'm very pro the idea of spreading our brand, the business opportunities. Of course I am. That's brilliant. If we were sitting in position 11, 12 on the table, I'd be saying, let's go. Honestly, as I alluded to before, I think we've got a chance of winning the comp this year.
True.
But to win a comp, I think you need everything to go your way. Now, I'm not worried about players getting in trouble off the field.
Sure.
We didn't see that last season with the 4 teams that went there.
I was just banned from being on Tinder.
But I've got confidence that'll be looked after.
And you're going to be banned for being on there as well, by the way.
It could be played in London.
Yes.
It could be played anywhere where
I'm
there's
with you.
long
It's
distance.
not a Vegas
it's the
thing.
Flight. It's the
Yep.
back. Now, I was fortunate to go to the Paris Olympics this year. It honestly took me 2.5 weeks to get over it. And I worked funny hours. I thought I'd be fine with jet lag. I was knocked around worse than I've ever been before an international flight. Now, they're highly trained athletes, etc. It's not like a Neville from Engadine. But I really worry about the effect. And the other thing that jumps out at me is the fact that no other clubs beyond the 4 that are going wanted to go in the end. Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the team that just won 4
Melbourne
comps in a row are
Storm.
going, though.
Because they don't have a home ground. Melbourne Storm were going to go until... No, then they pulled out. Gus Gould has said, yeah, I'm keen on the idea. I want to see how the first few seasons go.
Yeah.
I just think there's a reason behind all
I
that.
think worst case, what I'm hoping would be worst case, I don't know. We lose to Penrith. They come back a little bit jet lagged. It takes till week 5, and then we click. Yeah,
I
I don't think it'll be. I think if we have like a disastrous 3-20 season, we can't blame it on Vegas.
No, but we've got, and I actually think it's good we've got a tough draw, but we've got a draw that's very much dominant with the first half of the season, a lot of travel, and we've just added to that travel by going to Vegas.
Yeah.
I think maybe a positive, if you can class it that way, is the fact we're playing Penrith first up. That no one gives us a hope no one will give us a hope of winning anyway.
But remember, they're missing half their spine potentially. Nathan Cleary, Edwards.
Cleary spoke this week, reckoning he's going to play. I mean, that's pretty
They'll all
enough.
play.
But look, at least we're not playing the Tigers and just expected to win. You know, we're probably going to go in as underdogs. So if we do have a loss, it's actually not the end of the world. We're going down to the first grade against the premiers. It's the next month that worries me.
Yeah, sure.
Do you honestly think that this one, the 2 flights they're going to take will really take it out of them?
100%.
As elite athletes
Absolutely. Look at the Broncos this season. Hopeless.
I don't think it's ideal, but I'm with you in that if they manage it right,
the jet lag for 3 days and then it's...
It's not the jet lag. It's the...
It's everything. It's South Sydney, the Broncos both had terrible seasons.
Terrible squads, though.
The Broncos should have bloody made the top 4.
Look who they're coached by.
Yeah, correct. But a lot of off-field issues, sure.
Yeah.
But the only side that had a decent season really was probably the Roosters, but they had Manly were.
Yeah, but Clinton, I don't think we can say they had a bad season because of that.
No,
I think that if you look at the draw and go, they lost 5 of their opening 7 games, then you can do it.
I think we're just making it harder for ourselves than we need to.
Sure.
When we've got a chance to win a comp. You combine that with all the travel we've now got in the draw, which is the luck of the draw anyway. I don't think we can complain about the draw whatsoever. It's just adding to the drama this year.
They travelled pretty good last year.
Travelling to the other side of the world.
I know they didn't go that far. They didn't go to Perth. But I'm not as worried as what I thought. I'm more worried about Josh, to be honest, going to Vegas.
I'm a grown man. I'll be fine.
I know you're a grown man.
Worry about yourself.
I do that anyway. I remember that.
Mind you, I'd love to go, so if I keep reading those NRL commercials, maybe.
You could. All right, so Vegas. Cam, can we get your thoughts on Vegas?
The thing for the fans, too, is that we want to see a good start to the season. And all of this business talk, most Sharks fans don't really care about that, unless it accelerates the finish of the club and stuff like that. I reckon
the business.
Darts.
Yes. But I think we want to get... Because I guess... Vegas is as much much more probably for the domestic audience. There's going to be lots of eyes on the game. It's going to be a great start to the season. Yes. And the last thing we want to do is come out and have a poor performance, irrespective of who we're playing. But if we can come out and beat the Panthers, I reckon amongst the fan base, that really gets the ball rolling. And I think that's really important for the Sharks.
And I reckon from the general game perspective, I don't think there was as much excitement about an opening round of football this season as there was last year, this last season. It was brilliant.
Yeah, great.
I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, the ratings were crazy.
I think that's what you said, Cam, is the most important part is that we're going to be the talk of the town for that month leading in, and that whole week is going to be Sharks Panthers. You know, Sharks that is big opening game, prelim rematch out of Fonua-Blake. Is Nathan Cleary going to play sponsors are going to love it. And then as a fan experience, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I take everything we say completely on board, and I agree realistically.
Yeah.
But from a selfish point of view, I'm I get to go to Las Vegas with a couple of my mates, go and see the Sharks play in Las Vegas. In your wildest dreams would you have ever thought that would have happened? Then if we win, if we beat the Panthers over there, regardless of who they play, coming back with that momentum and going, we've just beaten the best team in the comp that we haven't been able to beat for 4 years. Take that momentum into the rest of the season. Yeah. We've come back for that. The boys have had a great trip together, bonding, all those. I think there's so many positives as well.
It's a good place to get them because there is that novelty factor. You said it, Clinton, no one's going to be backing us. There is a novelty there that's if we lose, whatever, we move on. If we win, we can do something silly and go, we just beat the Premiers, who we haven't beaten for 4 years. We scored our second try in 100,000 minutes against it. We can double down on that stuff and get the ball rolling. So hopefully there's some positives there. I know that the team is sick and tired of being asked, are you looking forward to going to Vegas? Because when I am at a certain cafe, which needs to start paying us some money before we keep talking about that cafe, people say to them, are you looking forward to Vegas? And they go, yep, but we're going for the footy only, it's just the footy. And I'm sure you're around that as well, Gary. When
they're very, very focused on round
and
one. Yeah, and everyone's hounding them, but trust me, they're going to be doing everything they can to win that game.
Do we know if injured players are going?
I don't think so, no.
Really?
So no Toby.
No Toby, thank God.
Probably a blessing. With respect. Okay. Our next Christmas wish comes from Josh Bolling, Vegas-bound Josh Bolling. And he would like to see a strong, healthy comeback and someone to get back into the team before the end of the season, and that is Jesse Colquhoun. He's had a lot of really bad injuries. Was it an ACL? Was that it?
It was ACL, yeah. We were there.
ACL, we were there. Big crowd went quiet. It was awful. He had only just come back, and he was playing really good. And, I guess what are we expecting next sort of June-ish, are we thinking? Or?
Yeah, he'll get back.
He's been in a lot of pictures, like he's training again, he's in the gym and stuff.
and
he looks really good as well.
He's looking fit.
So it might not be mid-year?
I don't think it'd be mid-year. I think it'd be earlier than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm no doctor, though, so
You're
take
not
that
a
with a
doctor,
grain of
that's
salt.
You could have fooled me, Gaz.
There's so many lines we could throw there. How's his attitude? How's his spirits? How's he?
From the moment he did his ACL, his attitude was spot on. Like, for a young guy, the way he handled it and handled himself and was in
He's
and
still
around
pretty
the
young,
club.
yeah?
Like,
He's 21, I think, 22.
Yeah,
Wow,
so he's
okay. Cool.
Yeah, he's got a really good head on his shoulders, and he attacked it the way he needed to, and it shows in the results that he's getting now through his rehab.
Coach loves him.
Coach loves everyone loves him down at the club.
Yes.
Everyone.
Okay, interesting.
He's just no good at NFL fantasy football.
Yeah?
Nah,
Has he got a Mari Cooper like I do?
he doesn't. No.
0 points.
How good's that? I have him in another league, so
In one of my other leagues, I just don't have a quarterback. And I had, you might have to hit me with the name, is it Will Davis? Is he a quarterback?
Will Levis.
Will Levis. He got minus 4.4.
Love that.
And I'm still going to win the game.
I know nothing about NRL other than that really good bloke got injured the other day and he can't play.
NFL.
Which guy?
There's
Who's
that
Mahomes?
many injuries every week. Yeah, Mahomes.
Quarterback.
They
He's
reckon
not
he'll
playing
play.
this weekend. He's out for a while.
Who?
Patrick Mahomes?
Oh, is he injured?
Yeah.
No, there you go.
Heard his
I
ankle.
know that much.
That's good. Someone else can win the NFL for once. Don't know who, Gary, though. I just don't know who. Okay, so we all wish Jesse see the best. Cam, you're a Jesse man.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see him come back. Hopefully he comes back fit and strong. And I think he's one of those players that had so much potential, excited about. And, I reckon he's got a big future. So, I reckon we want him to come back fit and healthy. Great end of the year. Cause us selection problems at the back end of the year when everyone's fit, but he's got a place, I reckon.
For those who haven't seen enough of him, and I've seen him, but is he a Jack Williams replacement?
Yeah, that's
is that
what I
the
would
role
say.
we're thinking?
Yeah, like he can play on an edge, he can play in the middle.
He
can
reminds
play
me
there.
a lot of like who's the lock for Brisbane? I always forget his name.
Patrick Carrigan.
Carrigan.
He reminds me of like a Patrick Carrigan, Jack Williams hybrid type of kind of player who could play front row, play at an edge at a pinch. We've
So
seen him.
he's taller than Jack, isn't he?
I think he would
He
be.
looks
Yeah,
taller.
I think he
Yeah,
would be. Yeah,
body
but he's just got that body, that very unique body shape of he can play edge, can play middle, can play front row. Got a bit of skill too. Like he's not slow. Like he's got a bit of pace for a big guy. Like I just see so much upside in him of like a bigger, rangier Gallon. And when I say rangy, I just mean rangier than Gal, who was a nugget. But I just see that like there's so much upside when you see certain guys like he's got it. And I just really want to see him get through the season injury free. And I think he could be a potential like Cam McInnes replacement or even a front row placement. He's so young, they could really make him whatever they needed him to be.
He's got that kind of really subtle but aggressive way of playing.
Yeah.
Like that's when I think of him, and he doesn't look it, but when you actually watch him closely, he just looks like a mean kind of tough guy.
Yeah.
But I don't associate that with him, and I just think, great forward. I almost see him like a Paul Gallen kind of guy, which isn't fair comparison. But yeah, hopefully he comes back and is ready to go. No more injuries. That'd be awesome. And you see it with players, like they have 3 or 4 really bad injuries as youngsters, and they sort of have long careers. So hopefully that's
Benji
what he's in
Marshall.
for. Benji Marshall. All right, we're going to keep rolling here with our Christmas wishes. And I think what we're going to do is I might leave those ones to the end. They're a bit heavy. We might go to a Cam and Sam request. I seem to do this one most years. Let's make home games special again. Have Sharks fans leave Shark Park pumped. This is Cam's words. Sorry to put you in the headline there, Cam. Felt like we often left disappointed in 2024. I didn't look up the home and away results, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
there were times where...
Yeah, it just seems like, even though I enjoy going to Shark Park, I just feel like last season, there just were too many games where we kind of left a bit flat or disappointed. Like, obviously there were a couple of bad losses, a couple of mediocre performances, and I really I actually honestly believe that we would have had more people turn up to that finals game at Allianz had everyone left one of the last home games kind of really pumped with a big win.
Oh.
And I just I kind of feel like I don't know how you make it more special than just simply winning the game.
Yeah.
But I just reckon there's a big momentum that could kind of reverberate around the Shire. If people are going to the games, they have a great time, we win well, or at least play really well, and people leave kind of, I'm going to go back next week, or I'm going to go to the nearest away game, or whatever the case might be. And I know we lose, 3 home games this season, and some of the home games are weird times, I think, this year.
Is it 2 or 3, Gary?
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, we've got Magic Round is a home game, Perth's a home game.
Ah, gotcha.
Is Vegas a home game?
No.
Vegas isn't a home game, no.
Now, just to be clear, and I'm going to hold someone back in particular, this isn't the stadium talk. This is about making the home games fun. I hear you, Cam. Yeah, I think that they're on that edge where it could go either way, because we all think about 2016, how fun it was. It was like carnival. Now that we've got the small capacity, most games are sold out, which means a full house, obviously, and that kind of vibe where you're at a concert and it's a full concert, like it's a full house. We just need to take that over the edge a little bit, probably entertainment-wise as well as the performance on the field. But you know what I mean, Gary? Like, get that carnival vibe happening again. I know people just go to watch the footy. I'm like that. I go to watch the footy. But, if we can get someone over here singing, and if we can do something crazy at halftime, and you know what I mean? Just get people talking about it. Hey, I was at the footy yesterday, and this dog jumped through a hoop, or you know what I mean? Like, just something.
Winning changes everything.
It does.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there were, unfortunately, a few poor losses at the home venue this
Warriors.
year that had a real lasting
Dolphins.
effect. Panthers. There was so much hype in the lead up to that Panthers game,
That's a good
because we
point.
were on the winning run and we'd finally beaten decent teams.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then to be beaten in the way we were, it was so deflating.
It was.
But not just for that game. I think that lasted a while.
Yeah.
Base.
The Warriors game did a lot of damage.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
A lot
totally
of
agree.
damage. I'll give you a club a bit of a tick, Gary, so you can walk into the place of employment tomorrow. They do great things. We're not saying they don't, but I always hark back to, and people have heard me say it a million times, I kind of want like the EPL vibe. I want just something. I don't like. It's just so dull. It's kick-off and we'll just sit there. And like our little group's the most lively, and that's not a good thing when we're the most lively, like, oh, what did you do yesterday? Oh, yeah, I did this, yeah. Oh, it's Will Kennedy making a line break. Awesome. Like, what? Get excited. Like, people are not that excited. Maybe they're taking it for granted. And I'm talking about select people, so internet, podcast, YouTube world, whatever, calm down. I'm not saying everyone's like this. But there's a vibe, a certain vibe, in all places of the ground. You and I, Gary, are fortunate enough we move around a bit sometimes on the day, and
Yeah.
it's not always this amazing atmosphere.
It's hard, right? Like, as you said, like sometimes we kick off and it just goes deathly silent for the first 10 minutes of the match. It's like, what's going on?
Like, and
There's
that could be
nothing.
nerves. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying everyone has to be like yahooing and singing songs, but
There needs to be a level of entertainment. Like you go to any other code or sport, and there's something happening at all minutes.
I think we've lost the fear factor. I know that the team and the coach probably want us. We want to do everyone proud down here and make it a place they don't want to come. I don't think people are intimidated at the moment.
You know what? For me, it's like maybe a bit of same. Like we've kind of done the same thing each year and not straying away from that.
Taking it for granted a bit.
So we kind of need to switch it up, change out a few things here and there, and
maybe.
I don't know.
But it's on the fans as well. It's not just the club.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, and I think the elephant in the room a little bit too is the whole issue about sold out games and there's still thousands of empty seats. We're in the Monty Porter, and I have, like, we've been there now 3 years, and I can't remember the Monty Porter being more than 70% full, except maybe one of the finals games. And I think that's, I don't know what you do about that in an effective way.
Some of that comes down to the ground and the Leagues Club issues. So I know we're not going to talk about now, but that for the first time this season, and I've just got general admission, but there were games that I either didn't go to or was not going to go to now because of the state of the ground, the Leagues Club, the parking, the whole shebang. Yeah. It all plays into it.
Yeah. But Cam, are you saying that if every seat is actually full, it'll obviously create a bit more of a vibe?
Yeah, but I understand you can't fill all those seats for lots of different reasons, but there's that means there's 2,000, there might be 2,000 extra people in the stadium. And just the sheer numbers. And, I've talked a lot before about my barometer is that area at the front of the Monty Porter that swings around there. Like when that's packed and I can't see any grass, I know there's going to be a pretty good vibe. Yeah. Because there's like momentum in the crowd.
Have fun there, yeah.
But when it's not, like even for some of those games, like again, like I can tell when we're sitting in the seat, if I can see grass, I know, okay, we're in trouble. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know how the club can manage that capacity and manage those seats that aren't being used.
Well, I mean, taking it from a personal point of view, when I can't go to a game, and you guys know this as well, I offload my tickets. Now, I don't go on the site and do the selling. I just give them to my mates or family. I try not to leave them spare. And that's for a whole bunch of different reasons. It's not necessarily to make Shark Park alive. But I wonder if everyone has that attitude. I'm sure some do, but that's something you can't enforce, right?
Yeah.
Well, I have a seat in the Southern Stand, and I've had that membership for 3 years. I've sat in that seat once because I prefer being on the hill, but I just get it just in case I ever need it.
So you're the problem.
So I'm part of the problem. But I can't. I'm obviously not going to sell my ticket because I will just go and stand on the hill with my other mates, or because I've got one seat. That's just for if I ever go by myself and it's raining or something. But I've sat in it once.
Because if you get rid of your ticket, then you have to pay to get in.
Exactly. So I'm still there, but so I don't know how much that happens. Maybe if people are coming in and just going, I'll just be on the hill with my mates, as opposed to sitting by myself or with whoever they might be going with. But I agree that is part of a problem, a wider problem.
And not going to the stadium upgrade issue yet. I actually think
I got to hold you back.
I think once the renovations at the Leagues Club are complete, and if that marquee disappears from the northwestern corner, that was an area I would stand with my mates in most of the time. Now you can still stand there, but it's drastically reduced the capacity there. And I think when those corporates are if they ever move to a different spot, I just think getting the old Shark Park back a bit will help with some of that atmosphere feel.
Anyone else got any more thoughts while I try and add up how many wishes we've done?
I guess it's a problem that is just because Shark Park's unique. That Josh, that kind of scenario where you can get a seat, but then go and stand on the hill. Like there's probably not many other stadiums where you can do that. You can't. Bills fans can't do that at Bank West, sort of in the same way that.
It's a charming aspect to it. Or it's like if I'm by myself, I can go sit in the seat, or one of my mates gives me a call or says come down to the hill, I can go and do that. Yeah. Which I kind of like that aspect of, like, if I have a couple of mates or family come down, my dad or my brother come down with us St George, I know that I can give my dad the seat if he can't stand up, or I can just go down and sit with them for that one game. Yeah. I like that aspect. I like that we still have that. I know a lot of people don't. I think there's a charming aspect to that I like, that you can still kind of go and meet anyone anywhere if you want.
Yeah, I agree. That's why it's a bit of a diabolical problem that Sam's going to have to solve pretty quickly.
I will. To think of one more wish, maybe. We'll see what happens there. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that. It's still the greatest place on earth. We should say that TK had 2 wishes that we couldn't get to. My favourite one was for St George to go broke and fold. But unfortunately, he also wanted to demolish Shark Park. So that's TK. He's a bit of a wildcat. That's what he wants for Christmas, though.
Actually, Sam, how have you progressed with that proposal that I had when we last spoke to demolish Shark Park but build a new stadium on the golf course across the road?
Yeah.
How's that proposal coming along?
We got a complaint from fellow Sharkcaster Kieran Fraser, who lives on the other side of the golf course, and he thought it'd be too much kind of, building for his very fortunate lifestyle that he lives. So,
given they're close to protesting in the streets over more park being reduced from 18 holes to 9 holes, I would worry about the golfers in the Shire going absolutely mental.
If only we knew a kind of high-profile radio broadcast that could sway the Sydney community to win over the Shire into our argument.
We're going to take a quick break, come back, and give you the rest of our Christmas wishes. This is SharkCast Pod. And you are with Josh, Gary, Cameron, Clinton, SHINAZZ, and in spirit, of course, Jardian and TK. Back after this very short break. Don't go anywhere. SharkCast is supported by the best and most honest real estate agent in the Sutherland Shire, Jason Hawes from Cripps & Cripps Real Estate. He's an expert in the Caringbah region and has his eye all across the Shire. Lifelong Sharks fan and supporter of this podcast, if you're looking to buy or sell in the region, the person you need to be talking to is Jason Hawes from Cripps & Cripps Real Estate. Call him on 0410 417 450. That's 0410 417 450. Jason Hawes, Cripps & Cripps Real Estate. Well, welcome back to SharkCast Pod, brought to you by Dyson Logistics, Jason Hawes at Cripps & Cripps Real Estate. And we have to point out a very special thank you to the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking, which is where we're recording our Christmas episode. It's a bit of a theme for us every year now to come down here and discuss our Christmas wishes. And thank you to Liam and all of his staff for providing all amazing food, and particularly the space which we enjoy. It's air conditioning, boys. I mean, brutal Sydney, brutal. Cam, you're out there in the fields, literally.
Yeah, 40-something. It was out in the Badlands of Liverpool working today, so I was glad to be in the air conditioning here. So
holy smokes.
Very nice.
All right. Jardian would like to talk about his Christmas wish, and that was going to be have us being a dominant forward pack. We talk about it most years. I usually come up with an idea that in a scenario where we're going to have a really good forward pack, and then sometimes it just doesn't quite get there. We got Fonua-Blake here, the beast. Gary, you've been hanging out with him a little bit. Tell us a little bit about Adam Fonua-Blake, the man behind the beast.
Yeah, so he is a bit of a beast, but he's probably not as big as I expected him to be, which was a little bit of a shock. He's obviously very solidly built, but softly spoken, really nice guy. And yeah, he's come back early to training. He rocked in a bit earlier than he was scheduled to, and he's ripped in, meeting all the boys, obviously finding his feet there, and he's got his cousin in Sifa hanging around. So
I was going to say, so Sifa's his cousin. Is there another relative?
I'm not sure if there's another relative. I know
close
Sifa,
friends.
yeah. So
yeah,
he's loving it. He seems to be fitting in really well. He speaks really well. He had another media call today, so
yep.
There'll be a video out there, I'm sure, on sharks.com.au soon. So
I like the. I know that maybe another group were responsible, but I like the Fonua-Blake getting in the car and driving.
Yeah.
Although you know what I noticed, he's a grind man. Now for. Take it the giggles.
It's a grinder.
Well, you immature people. I can't believe Cam was the first one to break. Grind is a brand of coffee.
Yes.
Yes. That's all I was saying.
Yeah.
We knew.
But Gary knows how I feel about that certain brand.
You know
Unless
how
they
I
want to
feel
come to
about
the party and supply us with money and coffee. Until that point, vastly overrated.
But no, he's a really good dude. So.
He drinks grind, though, so we need to get him off
We've
that.
got to sort that out.
Our
But
mates.
he's only just got here, so we'll sway him.
I didn't see his media conference today, but somebody who did at work mentioned, because I was jumping up and down about him, mentioned at work that he said something along the lines of, I'm not the saviour, like maybe just playing down the expectation a little bit. It's just from what someone else told me. I did not see it, but just trying to play down the expectations that he's going to be the complete game changer.
Well, I've got something to tell him. He definitely is the saviour. And I think he's Jardian's saviour.
He's the missing link.
Absolutely.
Isn't he? He's
Absolutely.
the man who's going to create the space for Brails, for the halves, for
But he doesn't have to come in and do anything other than his game.
No,
He's
So
potentially
that's probably
what,
where
the
his
second,
head's at.
is he the second best prop behind
Who's better than him?
Harris.
Penrith dude, maybe?
He's better
Well,
than
he's
him.
now Warriors dude.
Well, I mean, they're on par, maybe. I don't know. But
I think I generally do think he's a better all-round player. I think he plays longer minutes. I think all of his stats are better.
well, my point is, he can talk it down as much as he wants, but there's high expectations
I think
around
we'd
him.
be saying similar things if we got a Fisher Harris or a Payne Haas. I think
Of
what
course.
we've needed is
He's in that
alpha
that top
male
three.
prop forward.
Yeah.
That's what we've
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah.
I mean, you take the side that we had this year and you throw in 160 metres per game from one guy. And because we're getting that from about 2 at the moment.
Yep.
You get that from one. Then the other guys have extra energy. They get their outputs. They can maybe be more defensive focused. Like if Kafusi, he's just that guy that just gets through his work. Just kind of like, and then Adam Fonua-Blake and Ueli and these kind of guys are the enforcers that come and break the game open for us.
Yeah.
Can we just make sure he's got first class on the way to Vegas, that we keep him in cotton wool at all moments?
And keep him away from me in Vegas, right?
Business.
Yeah, yeah. You won't be going near anyone in Vegas. I've already told you. Hotel room, car to the stadium, straight to your seat.
Those
Back to the
fellas
car,
don't-
back
Those
to the
fellas
hotel.
don't fit in economy, do they?
They do not. No, they're all flying business.
All right.
Not,
well,
not me though.
we're looking forward to Fonua-Blake at least bolstering up that forward pack. So that's Jardian's wish. We all support that, of course. Now we've got 4 more to go. 1, 2, and they're all of a serious nature. This one's going to be like a double wish. It counts as 2. We're going to do them together. The first one is from Clinton, and it's finish the league's club to the standards we were promised. So
I recall.
I'll get you off the back fence,
Okay.
and there you go.
Look, I recall, and I've got a great deal of sympathy for Dino and the management. I was fortunate to have a chat to Dino at one of the finals games, and he explained to me the situation they've been in with the handover process from the builders. Sounds like the club's very much had their hands tied with it. But I recall listening to a podcast many years ago, Sam, of yourself and Adam,
Yeah.
where the club, and this would be prior to Dino, I think, maybe Dino was actually on the board, but before he was CEO, and they took you through the plans, the actual plans, when there was going to be the rooftop pool.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I remember that podcast blew me away with what we were
But
promised.
before you go on and get me into trouble, that's all factual, and everything we said in that show was factual. That was a long time ago, and that was just planning. That
100%.
wasn't. I wouldn't be confident saying that was locked in, but that's what we saw.
Absolutely, but
Yes.
it seems like we've fast forwarded the fact that we now haven't had a club pretty much since then.
Correct.
A clubhouse. And I guess what I'm worried about is we're going to be ending up with a clubhouse. And even that's going to be better than having nothing.
Yes.
But we've had the opportunity to have this amazing property development around us. Now, there's a lot of debate, which we might still touch on with the stadium and whether that should have been included in the board
Sure.
development and that issue. But the club itself, if that could at least be something a little bit special.
Well, I like the way you're thinking, and if this is what if I'm getting this correctly, you're saying because of the amount of time, and not being a smart ass, you're saying because of the amount of time, they actually legitimately have the amount of time and space, dare I say, to get it right.
Yeah.
It's not a hurried project, in all seriousness.
But I do have concerns whether that's going to be the case just because of part of the delays. But Dino, with his history of working for Star and I think it was Accor Hotels before that, he knows the industry better than anyone. There's some good people involved there, obviously. But I guess when I wrote that book a couple of years ago, part of one of the themes of what my arguments were in the book of why Cronulla had been a struggling club for so many years is the strongest clubs in Sydney were all based around leagues clubs. Canterbury, for instance. It's in the middle of a part of Sydney that, you might not really desperately want to go and live in, right?
Yeah.
But it's very successful because it's got a very rich leagues club.
It's awesome.
Because it's been massively successful with poker machines and so forth. I think Cronulla's problem from the start, in terms of financing the club, we had a leagues club in the middle of nowhere. In terms of, it wasn't near public transport. It's not near Carringbar shops or the Cronulla shops. It was in the middle of nowhere because the land was gifted to us. So we do a property deal to create a customer base around the club. Bingo. There's our customers, not just on game day, 7 days a week. And look, it's great they brought into the Chinese restaurant that I'm sure most of us have now gone to. We've got thousands of people living there in apartments.
And got to say, it's a really cool development.
Yeah,
like it's a nice place to go.
There's a venue that we've got customers now on the doorstep.
Yeah.
If the venue's good.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm just given the delays. I hope it's going to be good, but I guess I'm not filled with huge confidence.
Define good in all seriousness. Define good.
Oh, I think it needs the Shire probably lacks. You know, we have registered clubs in the Shire. But it needs to be better than tradies. Like, look, it needs to be better. It's probably not called the SUS Club anymore. It's other. Like, it needs to be a place where people want to go. But the customer's already there, so it actually doesn't need to do a lot to attract the customers because they're on the doorstep. So they don't want to go in there.
And how much colour do you want to see in the establishment?
In terms of Sharks colour?
Yeah.
In terms of, look, it would be nice to have some recognition of the club's history. To have a Hall of Fame room, a memorabilia room. The whole club does not need to be decked out in black, white and blue.
Okay.
I think because you've got a customer base there, a lot of people probably don't care too much about the Sharks. So you've got to cater for all of them. And there are greater minds when it comes to hospitality who run the club. No question about that. But given that as a fan base, when we get the members' emails, we keep hearing about, we're close to appointing a builder. It's 2024, and I'd understand why there's been delays, but we don't actually have maybe there's been a change, but we don't have a builder yet?
I don't know about that. On the colour, my thought was because, okay, you got people who live there and they may not even go for the team, but then you got people travelling for game day, open training sessions, kids in school holidays. You got to cater for those people.
100%.
Yeah.
But it should
doesn't have to be.
But it should be big enough to have all that. And I guess the vision of when we heard the podcast years ago was that you're going to have the massive deck area, and I think the deck is still going to be part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, the deck's still there.
You had the pool, and you had all this.
There's no
pool's gone.
But that's all right. That's probably a pipe dream anyway. But
it's probably for the best
because we're still at that point where we're not even sure who's fitting out the property.
Yeah.
Let alone publicly seeing the plans for what is actually on the table. I guess I don't have a huge yet until I see it happening amount of confidence.
Okay.
I'm not across a lot of the development stuff. Like, obviously, I don't sit in that side of the business or anything like that. I have seen some basic plans of what they're doing and what they're planning to do. And obviously, a little thing called COVID happened and price of everything went up. So, they have stripped back definitely from the extravagant. Absolutely, like all that stuff. But from what I've seen, it's going to be something that we can all sit in there and be proud of, and people will come just to go and check it out.
Yeah,
because that's the key, I think. You can cater for the people who live upstairs, but you want to cater for the people that just want to go check it out.
But that's where I think it's crucial to cater for the people who live upstairs, because the old leagues club, which in the end wasn't strong enough to sustain the rugby league club long term, because it was close to collapse on so many occasions, it was catering for the fan base already.
Yeah.
So we have to attract customers from outside the fan base. But we now have, the brilliant thing is the development puts them on our doorstep.
Right there.
But
right there now.
And I mean, I'll only speak for Gary and I. We know a number of people either attached to the club or with great fondness for the club who live there now.
Yep.
And I dare say it's because of their love for the club, as well as lifestyle, whatever.
The most successful leagues clubs in the city, like the Bulldogs Club, right? Canterbury Club. I guarantee you, 50% of those punters who go there, and I say punters, wouldn't have a clue who the Bulldogs are.
Sure. I mean, I went to a rock and roll concert at Panthers it was a week after maybe before they win so many premierships, I don't know. Maybe after the third one. Have they won 4?
Yes.
After the third one, I was there, just bad timing. You knew they won a comp. Yep. You knew where you were. You knew whose town it was. Even regardless of the grand final stuff.
I'm not saying don't do that at all, but I'm saying that we've got a customer base there now, right there now, that we've got to seize.
It's got to be a mix.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
I think there's a lot of markets, so you want to cover. You want to have the guy or the woman, the girl who want to go in there and have a punt.
Yep.
You want the Sharks fan to feel like they can go there and have a good time and feel the sharkness in it, I guess. I think the biggest thing, you want the young people to go there. You want a reason for a 22-year-old to go there on a Saturday night and have a good time. Or after a Sharks game, when you've got 15,000 people who want to go and party after a good win, you want to have a space for them to feel like they don't have to go back to Vinyl Room or go back to
And
to Northies.
It's still probably going to be, even though you've got now that customer base, it's probably going to be a bit tricky for younger people around the Shire because it is still a distance to get there, you know.
But it's
when
not
I was
that
going
far.
out, I was going to Carmen's and Hunters.
Yeah.
But they were on train lines.
Yeah.
And it's still in that little bit of a location that's off.
But if you give people a reason to go there,
Well,
they'll take the 15-minute Uber.
what was the club we used to go to? Was it Captain's?
Yes.
What was the club we used to go to on whatever night it was there? So, yeah.
I like your idea about if you're at the game, though, or if you're going to something at the club, the game's on before,
Yes.
I will go to the game as well.
No, you go spend $50, but if you have
Yeah.
if you have 200 people that'll go and just spend $50, you're golden. Then you're going to get all your loyals that go in every night or
But
after
the
a
bottom
game.
line with all that is the club's got to get finished.
Yes.
So
It does.
I mean, the schedule is still probably late 25.
I'm willing to spend a lot of money in there after and before a game, and I have many friends who would do the same. But we need to be able to go in and spend our money.
Do we know, Gary, is there going to be any room for an entertainment, like a band room or a venue?
Yeah, like there's function rooms and things like that. That like
Right.
there's spaces set up to host concerts or whatever it is
Okay.
that they want to do, and like
Okay.
the
But
outdoor deck has all sorts of things going on. There's nice hospitality venues
Okay.
in there. Like it's not just one central idea or
Gotcha.
theme that
Do you
runs
remember,
through
like
the
in the
club.
old Lease club, where like after a good win, it'd be packed in that main room, and they'd
Yeah.
have a
The
little
auditorium.
live
Yeah.
band on, like, no, just that
Yeah,
first
yeah,
main
that
room. They'd
first
have a little
one.
live band.
Yeah.
People would get up and have a dance,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
just even something like that, but at a better scale, or like even just like a room where
But
they have a DJ or something.
To Clinton's point, like they would, in the, I guess, up until even in the 90s, actually, they had concerts to, like Tumbleweed used to play there, and they'd play to 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Like the band's making money, the club's making money. I don't know if they got the space for that.
And look,
We're
the
just-
Shire doesn't seem to have those sort of venues. We used to have Carrying Bar Bizzos. We used to have places,
Yeah.
Carrying Bar.
They're all
Inns.
apartments now.
But that's the thing. The Shire doesn't have the same venues as it used to. So there
Yeah.
should be an opportunity.
There's a market there. There's an opportunity to really make some good money and pump that back in the club.
All right, let's move on to part 2 of this, which is actually a second wish, though. It's a different wish. And this is from Clinton again, coming off the back fence with his mate Jardian. Probably throwing TK there, to be honest. And it's not to say we don't feel the same way, but you raise this. A plan on how we can redevelop the stadium without government. And then in brackets, it says such as what Damo has put to them. I don't know what that means.
Okay, well, I won't give away any confidences of who
Okay.
we might be talking about, but there have been people connected with the club at past
Yep.
who have had discussions with the current management
Yeah.
about what could be done beyond the current development. I couldn't go into chapter and verse because I don't have it in front of me, but it's exciting sort of stuff based on what some smaller sporting clubs have achieved overseas. There is still room, and I mean even physical room, for further development around that club. That would need private investment. I think we've got to actually, unfortunately, move away from the point where we think we're going to get any government funding. Unless we sell the ground to the government, and I don't even know if the government wants to buy the ground, and allow Venues New South Wales to actually have ownership of the ground itself. I cannot see, just from, I know I've been saying this for years now, but from all the people within government and both
Sure.
sides of politics that I talk to, there ain't going to be any government funding for it. We've got on our side Peter Volandis, who is passionate about suburban football, that's great. The fact they've invested in the Quest Hotel adds to the argument that maybe one day the NRL might.
I was going to say, is that a chance?
Look, they're actually buying up hotels left, right and centre. They bought another 2 hotels in the past month. They don't seem to be, because they generate income for them. The problem with a ground as an investment, it doesn't generate much income.
Yeah.
It's an expense. And so I listened to the Buy Around podcast with James Grammer is a really good podcast. He did a round table with a group of fans, but sort of half prominent fan type people, a couple of weeks ago, and they were really critical of our development, the fact that it hasn't led to a new stadium. But I think what they were forgetting was the fact when the deal was signed off on, the club was about to go under.
Yeah.
People don't understand that in the broader rugby league community. That's why we didn't have much pulling power when it came to, we'll sell all this for 50 mil as long as you build a new stadium. We didn't have that power. The management there did not have that power. But a lot of people in rugby league got no idea.
Yeah,
so
but-
they see the development and they think, hang on, they've done all that and they haven't rebuilt the stadium. But it also causes a problem for us with government because
Yeah.
we're privately owned.
Yeah.
The government sees that we've sold the ground, sold the asset around us and not spent the money on the ground. So they're going, well, hang on, Why are we going to?
Yeah, but that's just a 5-minute conversation history lesson, right? Hey, this is why we didn't do it.
Yeah, but that's the problem. The government themselves, who don't have enough money to pay nurses at the moment, the pay rise, they're not going to suddenly come and say, and we know with how much stadium costs have gone up, Penrith's getting the new stadium, right? It's actually not a new stadium.
No.
It's an upgraded stadium at $307 million.
It doesn't look that good.
It's not a new, but that's how much costs have gone up. It's $377 million.
But would we need that much to just do small refurbishments?
No, but that's where I think they've now got to think outside of the box beyond let's wait for the government grant, because it ain't coming anytime soon.
What did you say at the start of this when you said something about the redevelopment and there's actually room there to...
Look, on the western side with the ET stand side, there apparently is, based on what was explained to me, and I don't have the details in front of me, but modelled on what has been done with some smaller sporting clubs who own facilities overseas, there could be the capacity to have some private investment where maybe there'd be some more commercial space for the private side. There's airspace there that could be potentially developed.
Okay.
There's airspace above the Leagues Club. Now, if you think about the way the development actually is at the moment, the Leagues Club, height-wise, is a lot lower than all the buildings around it. We own the Leagues Club. So there is airspace there that could be developed privately.
Got to fix that roof first.
But all it takes, this is not simple. I think we need to move past the hope that we're going to get government funding, because it's not happening anytime soon, if ever. I think they've got to now start, and I'm sure Dino and Mace, they're smart people, and they've now been advised by other smart people. They're hopefully looking at more creative ways, probably with the private market, because otherwise the stadium is not going to be upgraded.
I'm not fixated on the government giving us money for the... Like, I would accept it, but...
From the point of view of what the club has said to fans, they have been.
I know. And hopefully...
It's all about, we were promised this,
But hopefully that's less and less.
Yeah,
because they never sound good when they say it.
No, and I think they've given up on that. And it's just the fact that the government has spent upwards of $700 million rebuilding Sydney Football Stadium.
Yeah.
It's used a handful of times a year. They want content. The government wants content there. So they aren't going to be spending money to upgrade Jubilee, Cogra and us, when those two teams, us and St George, could be playing in the city. That's what they would love. Now, we don't want that. So I think we've got to now look well beyond government. End of rant.
That's a good one. Cam, got any thoughts?
Yeah, if Josh can just bring home those bags of cash from Vegas and fund that, that's
I
the
promise all the Sharks fans out there, if I ever win an exorbitant amount of money, I will pay for the development. That is a promise.
Cam says that as someone who, at this stage, isn't travelling with you.
And when I'm saying thinking outside the box, it might be doing deals with the fellas from New York. And it's not that they just give us money. It might be some sort of legitimate property development that they're in.
And then there's things like the money that we every NRL club's getting from the government money for PNG. Like I think it works out to be something small, but it's like 3.3 million. Those sort of things are putting that money away aside to then use when if another little thing comes through and that money starts to add up. And interest, all those things. That's when you go, okay, we've got 20 million. What can we do with that?
It seems to me that everything with the ground is on hold because the Leagues Club isn't finished yet. Because there's even just the basics like upgrading toilets and the basic things.
Wouldn't be ridiculously expensive.
Put people off from going there.
Yeah, but I can't get past that point. I don't know why that can't be done. Get a plumber.
I
and fix
reckon
the
it's because
toilets.
the Leagues Club's probably just taking up all the
Nah, that's not good enough. Like people are not going because of that. People who are fans are not going because they need to go to the loo and it's too disgusting. Fix the toilet. That's not going to cost you thousands of dollars. I wouldn't have thought. I mean, it might if you fix them all, but you know what I mean. I just think it's.
Well, look, the problem is Flano was a plumber and he's not at the club anymore.
Flano,
good.
There must be plenty of plumbers in the Shire.
There are more plumbers in the Shire per capita. Apparently,
put a call
than
out
any other
tonight.
area of Sydney.
All the plumbers that go for Cronulla that are listening, can we get something together? Can you
like a
one day
a
rally day
or something like that?
A rally day, all just meet it.
And then we can
when
do
the Buffalo Bills stadium snows under and they
That's
call
right.
all the fans to
Everyone
come shovel
snow.
away the snow. We just need to call on all the plumbers.
That's right.
And we'll get them to
We
sort
can
it
give them a
out.
lap of honour, can't we?
some
Absolutely.
free garlic bread, baby?
Free garlic bread?
I'll bring the garlic bread for
It's
you.
worth it.
All right. Well, I don't know if we solved anything, but we had a good fun chat talking about that. Now, I should not be in charge of being the list guy, but I am, and this is what we're going to do. We've got a few more to go before we get to Christmas. I think it's... I I think we've got 2 left. Can anyone confirm that? I think we've got 2 left. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's right. Let's just keep going. People can write to us and tell us how funny we are. Funny being silly. All right. Jardian would like to talk about the evolution of Fitz's coaching. He said, I thought he took a big step last year when it looked like people were being held to account for performances. I'd like to see him evolve again.
He just wants Nico dropped.
Yeah, Jards. I saw him today at work, and he just wants to keep Nico honest, I think. And he wants the best for him. But on that, I mean, we did see Fitzy take some big steps last season, and make some calls. And I think, I mean, everyone knows I'm a Fitz guy, but I think he's actually getting better each year, which is what you want, what you need. Cam, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think, some of the decisions that he ended up making in this season kind of, were what I guess fans were calling for, but he made them, they were decisive, positive outcomes.
So we saw Iro come into the centres.
It was a great example of,
and he was good. Kaleo was good. We saw
Ison a game.
Ison played fullback. There was a bunch of decisions like that where you were looking at the team list Tuesday going, don't know if he's going to have the guts to do it based on his first 2 seasons. But this year, I think he's just, I think he's really finding his groove, and hopefully there's more next year. I mean, the signings are pretty good as well. Like he seems very specific about his signings. Can you talk about that, Gary, a bit?
Yeah, I'm probably in a bit of a different situation where I am really lucky and blessed to be able to sit down at the start of each year with Fitzy in his office and work with him on the things that he wants to present to the playing group, his philosophies for the year, how he wants them to play, act, all this stuff. And to see where he's gone from the first year he was here to now, and just the little intricacies in what he does as a coach, the way he speaks, the presentations that he's putting together each week, like all these different elements that people probably don't get to see, he's definitely growing as a coach. Yeah. And I think this year, from what I've seen to start pre-season, he's going another level again. And it's the people around him. He's got a great support staff. He's got, it's not just him making every decision. He's got trusted experts in each field that he works with, and they come up with a plan. But I think from my point of view, he's definitely each year taken massive steps. And this year's probably another one where I think he'll make those tougher calls with a bit more ease. He used to maybe hold some decisions in his head a bit too long, and, there's those things that he's working on. And, he's a really good dude and in a really good space. So
I do get the vibe that he really doesn't like to rock the boat. And when I say that, he doesn't like to... hey, thanks so much. Thank you so much. He doesn't like to... He doesn't like a lot of change, because if the team's winning and doing so well, why mix it up? Will Kennedy's a great example.
And it's not that he doesn't like change. It's probably that he's got the belief in what he thinks is going to work and happen and what he can get from his players, that if it all comes together, he knows it's right.
Thank you so much.
And maybe at some points he put a little too much trust in that, but at the same point, if you believe in something enough, it's going to work out.
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Josh?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like sometimes we take for granted how young of a coach he still is in his career. I mean, to me, it sometimes feels like he's a 10 or 15-yearer, and he's in his 3rd year now. Going into third, or 4th year now.
This would be the 4th year.
Yeah.
This would be the second contract, wouldn't it? Would have been a 3-year contract to start with.
It's a great question.
Yeah, I would have thought it was 3.
I mean, he has extended during that.
He has
period.
extended.
He has. I think we sometimes take for granted how good he's been so quickly. When we've seen how many rookie coaches in the NRL get chewed up and spat out within a year or less sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think his development, like Gaz has already been saying, has already been so interesting to watch. As someone who's a keen observer and really takes this stuff seriously, but also I've just been impressed with his development as a man and as a coach of a team that I've loved my whole life, and I trust him so much already, and I hope he's there for the next 20 years. If we keep being successful,
I think he's really earned that trust.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know there's people who don't like what he does, but I'm with you. If he signs a player from Canberra who's played 2 games, I go, oh, okay, well, there must be something there. He's not just going to blindly pick someone. And I'm not suggesting that any of the NRL coaches would do that. But we know that this guy takes what he does very seriously. He's got results. Like, we've had some really good times. Yeah, I completely love the road he's on. I think he'll be here for at least 10 years. I think he'll be a 10-yearer.
I hope so.
I think he was, and he picked wisely. Remember, he came to the club because he was impressed with the playing group, with the junior base. He came to a club that would regularly make the semi-finals. I think we missed the finals the year before he came.
Yeah.
But that was about it.
Yeah.
Flano and then John Morris, they regularly made the finals. Okay,
Yeah.
we couldn't break through. Since he's been here, we've made the top 4 twice. Okay, the first year, top 2, but probably overachieved. The year we've just had has been the best year of the 3, I think, given we made the prelim, given we started beating the big sides during the season.
That's the development.
He brought players in, as much as he's a polarising figure now, he's brought in Nico Hines as a man who'd never played first-grade halfback and made him the centrepiece of the club. So that he's obviously got an eye for talent and developing younger players as well. So I feel entirely confident with the future of him. And sure, he'll evolve, but I think that'll just come naturally as what Gaz has explained, what his observations are.
I know being a good player doesn't mean you're a good coach and vice versa, but it can also mean that you are. And I think people forget about his playing career.
He's a hell of a player.
One of the best second rowers of
Did everything.
The 2000 eras.
Did everything. As well as goal kicking. Like, he has covered every kind of role as a player, which he can now pass on.
Yeah.
So when Nico's having, kicking issues or whoever, pick a kicker, yeah, they've got specialised guys they bring in. The head coach he's kicked 400 goals in his life.
And
you know what I mean?
He just seems to me, from the interviews that are conducted with him, with people who know him and talking to him, he seems like such a loyal, sort of decent character that I don't even have that fear that when Uncle Nick comes knocking... He's a life member of the Roosters, remember?
Yeah.
Right? Now, Trent Robertson's been the coach of that club for a hell of a long time. Eventually, Trent Robertson will move on of his own accord or whatever.
Yeah.
Uncle Nick could come locking. I've actually got confidence that at this point, he'd knock him back.
Yeah.
I think he has some loyalty to
It
what he's
would
building.
take something bad at our club and some bad feelings, bad blood, for that to even be a thing.
Yeah.
He's not going to chase that money. What do you reckon, Cam?
Like I said before, I'm all in. With the club for a long time, and I think I guess there's so much that he's probably contributing that Gaz probably knows about that we just don't ever know about.
The shark dialogue. I'm not allowed to talk about that.
Yeah.
Be the shark, Cam. Be the shark.
Yeah, I'm all in. All in.
Yeah.
But it's even just the way we handle like player signings now. Like
Oh, man.
they come out of nowhere, even for people
That was
in the
thing,
building.
if Ryan Pappenhausen suddenly signed a couple of weeks ago, I wouldn't have been shocked.
Yeah.
No, because that's the way AFB came about.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the way Nico came about effectively.
Yeah, it's fun.
Hardly need to
And I think the players
that's the way we
appreciate
need
that
it.
too.
Yeah.
Like not having their name in the media of where they're
Yeah.
going, like how much money they're on. It's just, done.
And I'm just using Pappenhausen as an example as a big name player who was
Yeah.
linked to a couple of
in the
clubs there
market,
for a
all
couple
that.
of weeks.
Hey, guys, how do you view the players and their relationship with him? Like, how do they see him?
A lot of respect.
Yeah.
And a lot of, like they like to have a good time. They're a bunch of men who are playing footy for a living. Like they have some good times at training, but as soon as he's out on the field, it's business, and everyone knows that. And when he speaks, he commands the room, and there's that level of respect is probably the biggest thing that I've noticed since he started.
Who are if I can ask guys, who are the leaders in the playing group at the moment? When we had the Wados and Fafitas, those big older personalities.
Yeah.
Cam's the captain.
Yeah,
Is he
like
the
obviously
sort of dominant
Cam.
player around the training sessions and stuff?
Cam is another, two that probably don't stand out a lot is Teague Wilton. He's probably one of the biggest
Who was
ones.
always a captain coming through in junior
absolutely,
grades,
all
wasn't he?
through New
Yeah.
South Wales and stuff like that. And Siffa, who's like one of the quietest guys you'll ever meet. Like when he's around the boys and they're talking footy and all this stuff, he's really dialed in and switched on. And they're probably two of the ones that, when it's a halftime chat or something like that and they're piping up, you don't expect it. But like the level of respect that they command off the back of that is,
You see Teague a lot in the heart, like in the sheds or like after we've conceded a try. So you do see Teague like leading a lot of those chats and like firing the boys up or giving them a spray.
Yeah, like Ronnie's come a long way as well. There's like Blake even like.
It's funny there. when I because there's only so many guys in the team, and I interview guys every week or two, and see you're obviously doing multiple players a year. The guys you just mentioned, Siffa, Teague, and Cam. Like Teague and Cam in particular, complete all business. Like, if I try and razz him, if I try and break him, it's like for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
That's it. Siffer's different because he's probably a bit more chill. But the way he talks about footy, if I didn't have that experience, I wouldn't have thought it was possible, just given the way that he plays and then the kind of way you might perceive him as a person off the field, just the whole complete package.
Yeah.
But when you talk footy with him, like, man, he's got opinions, he's knowledgeable, so I can clearly see why they're leaders.
Got a nice Siffer story for you. So I'm walking around my suburb, so I live in Engadine, last night, and it's starting to get dark and Christmas lights are coming on around all the houses, right? And so many people now have the inflatables in their front yards, whether they're whatever they, kangaroos and dinosaurs and Santa Claus and so forth. Anyway, I'm walking past them. There's a house of some friends of ours. I hadn't walked past their house since they put their Christmas decorations. And on the top story, one of their windows, there's one of those giant Siffer faces that they had at finals.
Oh, cool.
With a Santa hat on.
How good. That is awesome.
So he's got the beard in there, the black beard, but he's got the
good.
Santa hat
That
on.
is
It's
the
there's
best.
Siffer.
That is awesome.
Santa Siffer.
Love that.
That is cool. Has he got a new look this year? Have I seen a new look?
He's like trimmed the beard and like
Okay.
haircut, things like that. He's come back in good nick, so
All right. Well, we're down to our last wish. It's either the 11th, 12th, or 13th. We're not sure. But they all matter. So this one matters, I would say, quite a lot. No, so this is from Clinton, and Josh and I are 3/4 of the way in, and we'll explain what that is. Clinton wants a premiership. He doesn't want just a grand final. He wants a premiership. We need to pounce while the window is open. Whereas Josh and I have taken it back a step and we want grand finals. Doesn't mean we don't want the big one, but we're just saying we want grand finals. That guy is saying he wants a premiership.
Doesn't mean I don't want a grand final. Of course I want a grand
Doesn't
final.
mean we don't want a premiership.
Now, I think of all of the Sharks cast co-hosts, I think I'm the most pessimistic usually.
Correct.
I think I had us battling for the top 8 last year, 7th and 8th.
You have us losing every week.
I actually have a lot of confidence heading into this season. Now, I think that's got a lot to do with AFB.
Sure.
I think it's got a lot to do with Nico
It's not
having
the
a
same,
fresh
yeah.
start. Right? I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we had, was it one player playing in this national series at the end of the year? Don't underestimate the impact that has on players' pre-seasons. That we didn't really have players playing in that competition, which was great by the year, but it was good that our players weren't affected. I think that the fact we were... I saw a tweet during the week from Michael Chammas, who I've got a fair bit of respect for as a journo with Sydney Morning Herald, and he didn't have the Sharks in the top 8.
Yes.
And I replied to it and I said, hang on, we're top 4 last year. We're adding the best prop in the comp and we can't make the top 8. So I think we'll be underestimated.
Did you reply?
No, he didn't, because he's going on holidays tweets. I think he was turning off.
I think I liked your reply. I saw it and I was like, get in there.
And I'm careful not to get into Twitter wars because I don't get into it.
Yeah.
Right. But I actually have more confidence than I've had for a long time. Now, that can come undone pretty quickly.
Sure.
So if my fears about Vegas are realised and we get off to a bad start for the season, then with all that travel, things could change quickly. But if we can get through to the midpoint of the season, and if we are, say, floating around 5th, 6th spot at the midpoint of the season, I think we can make a real run of it, provided we haven't had injuries to the halves, to AFB, to the key players. I think we can make a real run for it in the back end. I wouldn't now bet against Penrith after 4 comps in a row, but they've just lost your own Luai. Like, he has been a mainstay of their team for 4 premierships. That's got to have an effect. I think that, there are other teams that are going to do. I think watch the Broncos bounce back this year under Madge. Like, there's going to be other teams that suddenly threaten who weren't a threat last year. But I reckon that even if they're looking at the next sort of 4 years, I reckon this one might be our year. Genuinely.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not sure if it's this year or the one after. I try and equate everything back to 2016, and you look at 2015, they had a really, really good year, and they made some changes they had to make, and then boom. So maybe Fonua-Blake is the change we needed, and that's it, ready to go. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's the year after. But I'm with you. I think we'll be there. That's why I said grand final. I look at the year we had in 24. There was so much rubbish around it, like the Nico, media onslaught, his injury, the Trindle off-field stuff, and we still. What did we finish? We finished
top four.
Top four.
We thought third or fourth.
And
no, we were fourth. We were fourth.
We were fourth, and we were a step away from a grand final.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if we didn't have all that disruption throughout the season. Surely we win more games.
I think the
finish higher.
I think the only thing against us compared with last season is the draw, and I'm not talking about the quality of the teams we're playing, because I think it helps us playing good teams. It's just the amount of travel in the first half of the season.
Yeah, but we don't leave Sydney after
which is where I say, if we are floating around 5th to 6th,
yeah, we will be.
Come mid-season,
yeah.
I reckon we can have a really good, strong back in the season.
I'd be disappointed if we're not in the top 4 at that
I think
point.
we'll be hardly touched by rep football again.
Yeah.
I actually don't think we've got the players who'll be in Origin, to be honest.
Sure.
Like, we don't seem to be fashionable when it comes to those individual players. Because I think we've got a really well-rounded squad.
Yeah.
So we're in that position where we can get through that mid part of the season once the travel's over.
I just don't see us, from a performance point of view, stepping back.
100%.
So if they can do the travel, I mean, I understand it's Vegas, I understand it's Perth, I get all that. Well, I think we're the second most travelled team next year.
We're not asking them to walk there, though.
No, we're not. And they're professionals, and the staff take it really seriously.
But turnaround times, you've got this. There's a lot of quick turnaround times.
There's a couple. Yeah.
You got your town.
The Vegas one, they get about 8 days, I think, which is pretty good. Like by the time they get back, it's still like because it's like the start.
It'll be longer than 8 days, wouldn't it? Because you've got
we play the Sunday the following week. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I think I don't even know if that's going to be a problem, but I concede that it could be. But from a performance point of view, they're not going to fall off a cliff and forget how to play.
Yeah. And they've travelled. They have travelled well since Fitz has been the coach.
Absolutely. Yeah. What's it feeling like there, Gary? Too early to tell?
Too early to tell.
One game at a time?
But like as you guys said, like we travelled pretty well last year.
Yeah.
I don't think travel's an issue. I get the whole effects on the body, everything like that, the time it takes to recover from that sort of thing. But I mean, in terms of the way we perform at away games and, you know, in the team room together, training, different fields, things like that, like everyone's switched on and they almost find it like a real bonding experience when we're on an away trip. So
they have that vibe.
Yeah.
It comes across real well.
I think we'll be fine. I think the travel will almost be good for us.
And is there any talk at all about, I don't know, expectations or it's just expected that they probably think they should win the comp?
Yeah, like everyone goes into a preseason aiming to win the comp and we're no different. So, you know, if that's not what you're aiming for, then why are you playing?
Yeah, well, like, you know, Jerome Luai came out yesterday, and I reckon good on him for saying that. He says, if I was in this team last year, we would have made the top 8. Yeah. Like, no, but
that's good, though.
No,
you want that.
That's the attitude you've got to have.
Yeah. I agree. I do find him a bit annoying, but I agree.
Mate, look at their spine.
Bloody
Seriously,
good.
have a look at that.
Really
no, I find him saying that is annoying.
Yeah, but, you know, he's a 4-time premiership winner.
Yeah, I would be too if I was in that team.
I guess that's the problem, or my worry over the next couple of years in this window being open is that I think the competition's getting even tighter.
Of course it is, yeah.
And that then brings in a bit of bad luck.
Yeah.
You know, like the difference between finishing the top 4 and the bottom 4 is going to be it's going to be really tight. And just with those, you know, even just next season, like, again, you were saying, like, maybe Bronco, like, it's easy to pick out 3 or 4 teams that you would expect are going to get improvement, and that's disrupting last year's top 8.
Yeah, but I look at that, Cam, and I understand that argument, but I then just look at our team. Like, our team is getting better, not worse.
Yeah.
So I don't worry about any other team, to be honest. Like, I don't look at Penrith and go, oh, they're still going to be in the hunt. I don't look at the West Tigers and go, they've improved 100%, which they have. It doesn't concern me. Like, okay, playing those teams is going to be harder. I get the point. But they've got to look at us and go, hang on, they just got Fonua-Blake. And that's just one guy. I know we're picking on him, but that's one guy. How'd they go, oh, they almost beat us in the prelim? Like, I think they need to start worrying about us as much as we worry about other teams. No offense to you, Clinton, but in years gone by, that's been your big thing has been like, this team's going to be this, and it's like,
and I still
you're right.
And I still say that
you're right, but I'm saying, but look at our team.
Yeah,
I don't think in these arguments we look at our team enough.
And I'm the one backing us for the premiership out of the 4.
I'm very blown away by that.
But I still think what Clinton said just before, like, just resonated really well with me is the amount of people that could have played rep games that chose not to go and get surgery, to be ready to start the season at the point they want to be at, is the mindset.
There are some top players coming back in the first week of January, like in some clubs.
Yeah.
A lot of them actually come back early deliberately, but they, under the CBA, they don't have to until the first week of January.
Yeah.
That's got to have a big impact
Massive.
if you're playing trials back into February.
Massive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a problem. Like, they're playing way too long, way too many games. Yeah. All right, well, let's do this. You're saying premiers.
No, I'm not. I'm not
you're not.
Oh, he's
yet
backtracking.
tipping Premier.
Don't
I'm
backtrack
saying
now.
This is our window.
Oh, sorry.
open,
Yeah, you're right.
wide
No, you
open
didn't
right
say
now.
You didn't say
This
it.
is our win. We've got a big chance this year.
You didn't say it. Cam, where do you see us finishing?
At the end of the
Or doing? What do you see us doing? Don't know how to
Where
ask
are
you.
we?
I reckon that we're going to finish top 2.
Ooh.
And I think that I'm with Clinton. I'm backing us in to
Yes.
surprise everyone this year.
Okay. It would surprise a lot of people. I wouldn't be surprised. Gary, are you allowed to say what you think or not really?
Of course. It's a
Like,
personal opinion.
What do you think?
I think, for me, there was something that was said in the sheds after the Panthers game that stuck with me.
Next year, hold the ball.
It was... it was... If we can learn to play the long game, we've got everything else there or thereabouts. When we look back at some of the games where we lost, even the Panthers game, there's moments there where we try to do too much in that moment.
So long game in the actual 80 minutes.
Yes.
Yep.
We try to do everything in that one moment instead of looking at, hey, let's just get to the other end and back our defence. If we can play the long game, I can't see us not being top 4 premiership.
Cool. Joshy, what do you think?
Oh, I think Fitz's first year, we unlocked the window. We had the key. We've pushed it open, and now I think we're ready to walk through the window and take it home. I'll be very, very disappointed if we don't make the grand final this year. I think all the pieces are in place. I think some teams around us are aging and getting weaker. I think the Panthers, for as good as they are, the pieces are slowly being pulled apart. Dylan Edwards' legs are getting worn out. The guy could barely run at the end of last year, and those things they take their toll on the body. It's it's not the years, it's the miles. And I think some like teams like Melbourne, team like Penrith, they've got guys like that who have been around for a long time, played a lot of football, and do every year. They play all the Origins, they play for Australia, they play all the way to grand finals. Yep. We're now entering that prime period where we're at the start of where these teams were 3, 4, 5 years ago. And I think there's not a lot of other teams that are in the balance of where we are at right now. Squad, coach, timing. Yeah. So I think it would be a disappointing season if we aren't at minimum in the grand final this year.
Imagine us playing the Roosters in the grand final. You got Fitz up against his club with the Chad playing halfback. For the Roosters.
I agree with all of you that we're going to have a good year. I'm not going to be disappointed if we don't make the grand final, Josh, because I think that it takes so much luck.
I know.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
But I think if we're not top 4, it's a disappointing year.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm with Cam. I think I'd be pushing for top 2. It's going to depend on the draw, how we handle that travel. But injuries aside, there's no reason why they can't do something really, really great. And I say that, I say that as a guy who watches a lot of this team really closely. It's nothing to do with being over-top fan or whatever. I really think that they've got a great chance, great squad, great coaching staff. It's just going to come down to things like travel, like injury. I think if we get injuries in the halves, Nazaka, cool.
Don't release him, please don't release him.
Pooh had a great New South Wales Cup campaign, so maybe it's his time, I'm not sure. But that aside, I think that they're, touch wood, they're pretty good in all areas. There's kids coming through, unbelievable kids.
I think the window is definitely. I think the next 3 years there's an opportunity to win a comp within the next 3 years at minimum, and depending on the development of the youngsters and if there's any key signings that we can make. I think there's still plenty of. I think we're at the start of a Penrith Melbourne dominant area.
Hopefully,
era.
Yeah, definitely potentially that.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, all the cards.
Who are we about to lose in terms of older players
that we
who are
don't
about to
want?
lose? Yeah, like Cam's just signed just for an extra year, so he'd be.
And that'll be
$30.
it probably, but yeah.
There's still the issue. There's a lot of players still off contract who they haven't re-signed yet.
Yeah.
Ronaldo's and your Wiltons and a few of those, and they've got to go through that period. Probably still in the next 6 months of tying that up.
But if we don't, there's opportunity to get someone else.
Yeah,
But that money's there. That the money's there.
We're in a
Yeah.
good position for the next 3 years.
Yeah. Even looking at that flag team, a lot of those guys get me pretty excited. You know, who's the lock? Sam
McCulloch or something.
McCulloch, yeah.
So who's the captain, wasn't he? I think he's
He's a good.
and the
good
halfback
kid.
Pollard.
Pollard's
Yeah.
good too.
Yeah.
Pollard, yeah.
There's lots of guys like that coming through. So
One last
Who's the
question.
Nakora guy? The has
Nakora
Jack
Williams.
Nakora?
He's
Yeah.
centre?
Nakora Williams.
Oh,
talking
yeah,
about?
that's the one. Yeah, he's
he's
a gun
doing
too.
pre-season with us.
From
He's-
Gaz
yeah.
and Sam's point of view, the insiders, what is the situation with Cade Dykes? Is he going to be fit to start the season in New South Wales Cup? Is he
I
still?
don't know. Do you
I
know?
hope so.
Is he
I hope
training?
so. He's training.
Yep.
He's training. So
When do you do
Because
his
this
Poor
is probably
kid
it
can't
for him,
catch a
isn't
break,
it?
like,
this
yeah,
year's
like-
probably the make or break.
When
I
do
would
you
say
do
so.
his injury? Do we know?
he's done one every year.
Oh, it was
He's-
pre-season, wasn't it?
No, he did one again mid-season.
Yeah, he came back
He
for
won
like
previous
a
year,
game
the
or
ACL
two, and
previous
then
year.
did something else and was off for the rest of the year.
But not
and-
as serious.
well,
it
still
was
serious
still
enough to
knock
keep
him
him
out
out
the
for the
year.
rest of the year.
Yeah, right.
And I think it
I
was
don't know
sort
exactly
of
what it
related
was.
to the
Yeah,
ACL.
yeah, it was
some
something in
way.
his knee. I just can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just because of all our junior players, if we cast our minds back 2 seasons, he was the one coming through. We all
Yeah,
had to
he
be
was the one.
as we're thinking he's going to be partnering Nico or he's going to be the fullback. And unfortunately, because of this torrid run of injuries, he's just pretty much disappeared now
I
off the
think.
radar.
I mean, I know he's still got the talent. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of putting it together,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
Well, I just
Yeah.
don't forget that we were playing the final series year before last, and even in the finals game against the Roosters that we lost, he was in the box with Fitz.
Yeah,
And why you have a
Still
junior
around,
player
like, yeah.
who's played one game in the coach's box, unless the club seriously had major raps on him.
yeah.
oh, he's well liked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Hopefully he can get it together because they're going to need him at some point, or someone like him.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, that's all of our wishes. Let's hope that all of them come true. Wouldn't that be lovely? Thanks, boys, for another bumper year. Appreciate it. Thanks to everyone who listens in, watches on the YouTube, hits us up at the ground. We appreciate everyone. I do have breaking news. It's not bad. There's another episode to come this week. There's another episode.
What's happening?
I'm going to be chatting
Come on.
with someone else about the Cronulla Sharks on SharkCast. So, but yeah, I believe all being well, Riccio and I are going to catch up later in the week.
Awesome.
So,
And for those who've missed it, make sure you listen to Sam's pod with Brendan Cow.
oh
Yes.
yeah, you like that?
It was such a good listen.
He's a good
and
guy.
particularly for not blokes of Josh's age, but maybe the rest of us. It was just a real insight into the thinking of men when they get to midlife.
Yeah.
As the series is.
He's really started to specialise in that in a lot of his work.
Yep.
Let's go around the table. You haven't watched Plum yet?
Not
I
yet.
haven't yet.
You haven't?
I wanted to.
Cam, what'd you think of it?
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah?
Yeah, really good.
Okay.
And we finished it just before I finished watching it just not long actually before the interview that you did with Brendan. So yeah, great timing. Great to hear his perspective on it.
You recommend it?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Because I read the book a while ago. I was looking forward to the show, but I had no idea it would be that good. I don't know why, but I had no idea the show would be that good.
Yeah.
I thought it was lights out. It was just everything about it. It wasn't sort of completely obvious how they did it. There were twists and turns, and
Massive spoilers in the podcast, though.
there were some spoilers.
But it's not even a program that you have to have an interest in the Sharks.
No.
Like, obviously,
I think
we're
for
all
our
connected with
listeners,
it.
yeah, for
we
our
love
listeners,
it because you see so
absolutely.
much Sharks. When you
Or even
can't-
if you live in the area.
when you couldn't remember Gavin Miller's name, you shout, "Yeah, Gavin Miller!" Like there was such a connection for us, but also the
Yeah.
messaging in it about the issue that so many
Yes.
footballers are now
Yes.
facing
Yes.
tragically.
Yes.
But also just the challenges you face is when you sort of start to enter your middle-age years.
Yep. And even just the perspective of the son,
Yep.
the young fella coming through.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It was awesome. What did you think of the Leagues Club?
It's better than our current one, isn't it?
So, here's another spoiler, Josh. The Leagues Club was the ET bar.
Was it?
They made it look good.
There was plenty of memorability.
20 metres
wasn't there?
long.
It looked good.
Okay.
Were you around, Gary, when they filmed anything?
They came in and filmed a few times when I was floating past, but I never went in and sussed it all out
Okay.
properly.
Yeah. You'd love it as a local.
I want to watch it for
You'd
sure.
love it,
Yeah,
yeah.
I want to watch it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks to Brendan. Thanks to everyone else who's come on the show. But yeah, hopefully, all being well, touch with another episode. I'm not sure when I'm going to put this one out, so I probably have spoiled everything. But we're going to have Ricky on, hopefully, if our worlds can meet. But until then, thanks to my immediate company for joining our audience and getting our Christmas wishes out. And we send our respect to TK and to Jardian. SharkCast Pod, you know where to follow us. You know what to do. We'll talk to you real soon. Up Cronulla. Happy celebrations, whatever it is you do over the festive period. Up. Talk to you soon.